We're there. Good evening. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Saturday night booze up here on Claret and Booze. So we will be joined by Nick shortly. I think he's just clearing up his dog's mess. He's got a young pup. They do make a lot of mess. But I'm joined until then. Nigel, welcome. How are you tonight?
All good, mate.
Good.
From me, Ruby. All gel frizzied up.
It's good to hear.
Good job. That's my voice.
Yes.
It's the best way to be.
We all like brothers, mate. I tell you.
Yeah. And John, how you doing?
Yeah, good, mate. Very good. Just watched my boy earlier on get to the final of the very same schoolboy competition that Bobby Moore won with the kids. So,
lovely.
Looking forward to the final in a few weeks. You know.
Good. That's brilliant. So, welcome everyone. By the way, if you're new to the show or you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe to the channel, Claret and Booze. We're going to discuss a lot of things tonight. We're going to start off, talk about Frankfurt with heavy hearts. We're going to look back at Frankfurt. But to be honest, Nigel and I, we went out to the Black Lion and we saw the game. We did a few things afterwards to sort of cheer ourselves up a bit. So it weren't too bad. We'll go into that. And then we'll move on and we'll do some player ratings for the Frankfurt game. And then we'll move across to Norwich and look ahead to Norwich. And, you know, after the Man United getting absolutely stuffed away at Brighton today, we've got to look at what the rest of the season might hold for us. You know, I think, you know, we might be a little bit tired going into the Norwich game tomorrow, but hopefully not. Hopefully we've got enough left in the tank to turn them over. But we're going to talk about that. And then later on in the show, this could be a bit spiky. We're going to talk about West Ham social media reactions. And there've been a lot of mixed reactions out there. You know, let's be fair. There have been people who just, you know, look, the way I take it, which is just abject misery when we lose, and you just don't want to talk about football. There are other people who react to it furiously and get all angry, and there are other people who, you know, for instance, Aaron Cresswell, who would have been feeling lower than Aaron Cresswell after what happened the other night. People digging him out personally on Twitter, saying he should never wear the shirt again and all that sort of stuff. You know, for me, it's beyond the pale. But anyway, we're going to discuss that later. I'm sure that'll get quite passionate, especially when Nick comes along. But yeah, until then, let's look back. Let's look back at Frankfurt. So, you know, we were all looking forward to this. I mean, I was like a kid at Christmas, as I'm sure you all were. I got to the Black Lion really early. I couldn't wait anymore. I had to go down there and start drinking, getting ready for it. And the team that we put out was probably our strongest 11. Or the strongest 11 that's available at the moment. What did you two think when you saw the lineup, John?
Yeah, it was pretty much as expected, I think, wasn't it? I think the only debate was whether Soufal or Fredericks would take the right hand side position. But I think personally, I would have gone with Soufal because I think he offers more going forward. You know, with his service and that crossing and that. So yeah, I wasn't surprised really with it.
Yeah. No, I thought it was great. How about you, Nige?
Yeah, I mean, I was pleased he hadn't gone free at the back, I suppose, in a way. Because I think the last couple of times he's done that, it hasn't really worked. No. So he picked the best 11, I think, really for that game. Even Kufal, I think he's sort of more solid a right back. Out of the three, you think we've got three right backs in a way with Johnson as well. So I think if Johnson, I don't know if there was doubts with him with this knock apparently that he had the other day. So yeah, I mean the team, it was a team that could beat Frankfurt.
Yeah, no, I'd agree with that. I think it was a bang on selection. It's definitely the best what we had available.
Yeah,
and when you looked at the atmosphere over there, I mean our fans, they were having a lovely party all day long. I think I saw some video of a young couple that were getting married in the Altstadt in the central square there of the old town, and they were surrounded by West Ham supporters all in their wedding photos. You know, I love that. We're in a real party mood. There were loads of people that went over there, and everyone had a whale of a time. And then they got in the ground, and an hour before kickoff, the noise started. This wall of noise from the Frankfurt fans, and I don't know about you, but I feel sad for losing. And we'll come to that in a minute. But you've got to admire the way the Germans support their side, haven't you?
Yeah, I mean, we had a bit of a giggle about their rehearsed flag waving at the London Stadium, but
Yeah,
I got to say, I mean, obviously, I wasn't at the game; I watched it on TV, but you could feel the atmosphere through the television. I mean, that being there must have been electric, and it must. I'm not sure if it's intimidating, but it must make your hairs on the back of your, back of your neck stand up at the very least. But I mean,
yeah.
I've never been to a German league match. I don't know if any of you have actually, but I don't know if that's. It's when you watch Borussia Dortmund, they have that whole wall of noise, and they have they have guys that don't watch the game. They have their back to the game, the whole. And I mean I don't think I could go football and not watch the game, but I mean that is a whole level of supporting your team, so much so that you don't care about watching the game. You just orchestrate your fans.
Yeah,
I mean,
no, I absolutely loved it. Right, you, Nige?
Yeah, I'm lucky enough to have been to 3 games in Germany, in different leagues.
Yeah.
So I went to a regional division, what you would call probably Division 4 league.
Yeah.
Right.
And they had 200 ultras.
Yeah.
Yeah, waving their flags,
Yeah.
banging their drums and making noise all game. I went to Cologne versus Leverkusen, which is a local derby akin to West Ham v Tottenham.
Right.
And I mean, the Leverkusen fans gave 5 flare displays.
Right.
And luckily, Cologne won the game. They were the team that I was cheering for.
Yeah.
But the atmosphere at the other end behind the goal from the Cologne fans was non-stop.
Yeah.
And then I went to a Bundesliga 2 game between Osnabrück. I don't know. I'm trying to think of an English team that are akin to them, a Blackburn Rovers type team.
Yeah.
Or Blackburn Rovers without winning the Premier League.
Yeah.
So a Blackburn Rovers type team or a Sheffield Wednesday type team against Dynamo Dresden, who were like the kings of East Germany, but have now Germany's unified, been nullified. And the atmosphere there actually surpassed the Cologne Leverkusen game.
Wow.
They had their ultras behind the goal. They did their tifos. They did their flag waving. They had people standing in front of the fans with the megaphones telling them what to do. The Dresden fans non-stop sang 3-0 down, 15 minutes to go. The stewards of Dresden fans basically went, right, everybody, we go home.
Wow.
And they do that deliberately.
Yeah.
So when the game's over and the Dresden players look over to where the away fans are, there's no one left. Everybody. You know,
that
you
is
think
brilliant.
there's 1,000 Dresden fans.
Yeah.
Every one of them had left the ground on the 80th minute. Packed up all their flags and gone. And Osnabrück celebrated. It was just a league game in December, and all the players went over behind the goal, and they actually named the players behind the goal. The ultras named their player of the match, and he had to get up and sing a song. Yeah. Now imagine Craig Dawson having to stand in front of the Bobby Moore stand and sing a song. Yeah, this is what happened. That's German football. I tell you, I enjoy football anywhere I go. I fell in love with German football that day.
Yeah,
that weekend, outstanding.
Hello, Nick. You all right, mate?
Evening.
You're right.
Evening. All you all right?
Evening.
Oh.
Yeah, we're just discussing. We just started talking about the game and sort of the pre-game atmosphere that Frankfurt managed to generate. And Nigel was saying it's kind of normal over there. He's been to all levels of football over there, and it's like it is cultural. Very impressive. But I'll tell you what, it's top down as well. It comes from the club, because when you look at what they had behind that goal there, the way that stand was lit up and the way they had like smoke, I don't know whether they had smoke machines or whether they were flares or what.
When the players were walking out, you mean?
It was, they had like big bright like strobe. They weren't strobes. They were like, but they were like strobe lights. And while they were doing it, and the smoke was coming up, the crowd seemed to be milling around like nutters. It seemed to be really good.
The pyrotechnics where the fans were standing.
Yeah.
Who was dealing with that? Who was doing
That's
that?
what I'm saying. It must be the club that put that sort of stuff on, right? They must facilitate
the ultras, and this is the thing. If you go to Germany, I think I find, or even most of the ultras are entwined with the club.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
the club embrace the ultras.
Yeah.
You know, to the
Shit,
point
sorry,
where
woman.
I don't know. Before the game, there was comments made by their president, I think it's called Peter Fisher, about, you know, we all know about the English fans and their hooligan problems, but our boys don't run away.
Yeah.
Now, now imagine the owner of a football club in England
Yeah.
basically saying, "Well, you may be tough, but our boys are tougher, and we'll take you on," because that's what he was basically saying.
He was.
You
He
think,
was.
you know, that's but German football, it is probably the best fan culture going.
That's very much akin with a lot of the Italian stuff, because a lot of their ultras in Italy, I've seen documentaries where they allow the ultras to go and watch training. The ultras, you know, the ultras storm training when they feel there's a problem at the club, and police aren't called. It's dealt with sort of internally. You know what I mean? But it's a strange way of being. But I suppose it eradicates real problems to some degree. Do you know what I mean? To some degree, obviously.
Well, what about the fans storming on the pitch at the end, though? You can imagine what would have happened if that had been West Ham.
They let them on. They didn't storm on. They let them on. They opened up the gates to let them in behind the goal, and they knew what was going to happen.
Nick, do you see a problem with that?
Yeah.
No.
It's player safety, though, Nigel, isn't it?
Were any players harmed during the filming?
They weren't.
I'll tell you what, though, had we done it, we would have got banned.
And this is the thing, because I don't know actually about Nick and John, but me and Gary will remember that the last home game of the season. Tradition was we're all on the pitch. And we're fucking going on.
And I love that. I love that. It was one of my highlights of a shitty season, because it was invariably a shitty season, wasn't it?
Yeah,
you know, to get on the pitch at the end.
I remember one year. We ran on the pitch thinking we'd won the league, and Oldham got a last-minute penalty against Sheffield Wednesday. Won the game 3-2. While we had been promoted, we hadn't won the league, and it was actually where we was having a promotion party. It absolutely killed it stone flat on the pitch. But 1986 against Ipswich, I stood on the pitch and sung "We're going to win the league," and actually believed it. You know, last home game of the season, nothing will top that. So, and this is the thing, where we had the criminal act offence, making it a criminal act to run on the football pitch in this country. I think it spoiled that end of season. That was the fans and the club, West Ham fans and the club would come together as one. The players would come out in the West Stand, and you'd have like 10,000 West Ham fans on the pitch.
Well, I think as well. I think as well, when we, you know, the way the modern stadium is set up and everything else in this country, we're kind of every fan's wearing a straitjacket. You're constricted to your seat, your area. I'm pretty sure from the way those fans were milling about in that end that they haven't got allocated seats. They just turn up and stand wherever in that end.
No, but when you see it, if you look at photographs entry, I don't know if they're there, but I know from when I went to Cologne. It's almost terracing.
Yeah.
If you look at the Dortmund wall, that's almost terracing. I don't know if that's 20 or 30,000 people in that stand.
And that lends itself, when people can move in and join their mates and stuff like that, that lends itself to a better atmosphere. It always has done, hasn't it? But we're
do you know, it's probably debate with different day with standing and terracing and whatever. Obviously, we all know it's because of what happened at Hillsborough. Well, it's not because of what happened. It is because of what happened at Hillsborough. But let's face it, Hillsborough weren't the only place.
No,
Other things had happened before that. That was the tipping point, and not that many had died, I think, in a football ground before. So the problem with Hillsborough, why did Hillsborough happen there and not at Upton Park? And I'll tell you why.
Fences.
We never had fences.
Yeah, exactly.
It was the fences that stopped that. We had the girl. Do you remember the FA Cup games, QPR?
Yeah.
There was 3,000 more West Ham fans in our end than should have been legally.
Yeah.
And we all ended up, or a fair fraction, ended up by the side of the pitch for safety reasons.
Oh, bloody hell.
Coming, Nigel, there were times where you got up the back stairs. I remember a Liverpool game, a midweek Liverpool game, where I was trying to get up the back stairs to get into the top of the North Bank, and literally you could not get in. right? They'd oversold it. The thing was absolutely rammed to the rafters. They used to do it all the time. You know what they used to do? Let 2 for 1 in. It was part of the contract of employment for the turnstile operator, wasn't it? It used to, but going back to the game, I mean, I've heard from a few people who went, and Chris Miles was over there, and he said they started singing a few times. They sang a 20-minute rendition of Pretty Little Baubles in the right, and apparently it was so noisy you just couldn't even hear ourselves singing it. It was on a different level, right? And that was going on while our players were warming up. So imagine how, you know, if you do get intimidated by something like that, imagine how intimidating it was. I mean, we've got certain players who I think would never get intimidated by any atmosphere, but I think certain people would. So
I don't think it's even intimidation. I think it, you know, that some of them players is the biggest game of their career, and that sort of atmosphere just I wouldn't say it intimidates, but it's got to make you like the adrenaline. It must get you, you know, it must get the adrenaline pumping. And for some, that's a good thing. And for some, that might be a bad thing because everyone handles that sort of situation differently. And the way they get the adrenaline, if it helps their game, or, you know, it can hinder some people's games.
No,
you know?
I agree. So sort of onto the game. And we're sitting there in the black line, and you know, got the whole bar to ourselves, the outside area to ourselves. It was you know, me, Nigel, Danny, Sadie, and Ross sitting there watching it, expecting miracles. I'll tell you what, we started the game really well. The high press, we looked really good. I was really impressed. I thought this is looking like it could be a good night. And then on 17 minutes, it all goes tits up. Goes tits up. When you look at the replay, it's clear that Cresswell came across and tried to win the ball, but it's also clear that Cresswell pulled the player. Now, that's not how I reacted on Twitter. I called the ref a cheat, especially after he sent off Moyes later in the game. I got attacked for it, but that's fine, right? You know, got to say what you feel sometimes, and that's how I felt at the time. And you know, but nonetheless, I think if you look at the replay, and especially when VAR got involved, it looked like it was a sending off. So I was very disappointed that Cresswell did effectively the same thing that he did a couple of games before. I would have hoped he would have learned, because it would have been better for him to have conceded a goal at that point.
It'd have been better off just letting the player go and letting Areola trying to save it, you know, at that stage in the game. If you're at the end of the game, if it's like 85 minutes, you'd say, "Oh, look, you know, you take one for the team." But
do you know what he'd have been better off doing? Pulling him down in the penalty area. And I'll tell you why, because of the double jeopardy rule. If they'd have got a penalty, they probably would have got booked. Yes. I think it was because it was outside the box.
That's a good point.
But, I don't know if the double jeopardy rule is just in the Premier League, but it's definitely there now that if you stop a goal scoring opportunity in the box because they get a penalty, they've now moved it down to being a yellow card.
Right, okay.
If you're playing the ball.
Right.
Do you not think that he was left high and dry a little bit by Zuma and Dawson, though?
Undoubtedly. I don't know.
Yes.
He was, wasn't he?
At the time. 100%. I don't know what he was doing there playing centre. It was almost...
The only thing I'd say is I think that this sending off was far more clear-cut than the one against Leon.
Yeah, it was,
I think this one was... As soon as he got the yellow card...
It was blatant.
As soon as he got the yellow card, I said to Freddie, my boy, I said... He's lucky there. And as soon as VAR get involved, you know it's going to be overturned. And I think, look, if it's quite right. There's no debate about that. But the debate is how he ended up there. He is a defender, though. So as a defender, sometimes you've got to be maybe in a different position. You've got to deal with that. He made the wrong choice. I'm not even sure he needed, because he sort of had hold of the striker and was stretching out with his leg to get the ball. He was trying to do two things at once. And I just sort of felt he probably could have just stood his ground and not tried to dive in for the ball. But look, heat of the moment, things happen, you know. So
well, the striker's about 3 to 4 inches taller than him. He's bigger than him and musclier than him. And I think he felt his chance was to nip in front of him. But the bloke was physically strong and held him back, or used his body weight, Antonio, to hold Cresswell back. And that's where Cresswell's now tugging on him, trying to pull him. The bloke knows what to do, innit? The bloke went down theatrically. You know, I was disappointed. You know, it reinforces why I never wanted VAR from the begin with, and I actually blame anyone that wanted VAR.
I think Garino's right here, though. Cresswell just had to get goal side. It don't matter if you're in your natural position, in and out of it. the basics of defending are to be goal side, and he wasn't, and that's what.
Look, if you're gonna drop back and try and sort of because effectively, if you let that ball bounce, you can't let the ball bounce. If you let the ball bounce, you've got to be goal side. If you go for the ball, you've got to win the ball.
Yeah, exactly.
No, that's what you got to do, and he kind of got it. He got it all painfully wrong. But like I say, it was look, it was a blatant, horrible mistake from Cresswell. It was, and it's just shocking that it's happened. But I'm not about to hang him out to dry though for it. To be honest, it was his mistake. It was his mistake. But yeah, I don't know.
I think people's anger came from a lot of people's anger seemed to be along the lines of he didn't learn from his mistakes against Leon. But I thought that the majority of the fan base thought that his sending off against Leon was unjustified.
Absolutely,
so, He's very hypocritical of a lot of people who questioned his sending off against Leon.
Yeah,
directly compare the two together. You know
what a lot of people said about that though, and I think they're right about sending off against Leon is that he gave the referee a decision to make.
Yeah. Right. I agree with that to some extent.
Yeah.
But
so I mean that was a sickener, and I mean that completely killed our emotions in the Black Line, and then 2 minutes later, I'll tell you what, I've got to give credit to their coach because he did his fucking homework on us like no other coach has done. And in the first leg, he caught us on the left-hand side with the ball in between the fullback and the centre half. They did the same thing over the other side in this game, right? They did the same thing over the other side. They played the ball between the lines. Johnson was outside. Zuma was failing to make up ground inside, and then basically it was a simple cross. The guy got to the touchline, a simple cross for the striker to tap home, an unmarked striker standing in the middle of the and we didn't have, at that point, this is a disappointing thing, we didn't have fewer defenders. We just brought another defender on, but it felt like we did have fewer defenders, right? So that was, for me, a really sloppy goal to concede, and that was game, set and match, wasn't it?
At that point, it was, At that point, it was. I mean, it was, and look, we hate to say it, that was poor defending from Dawson. It was. It's as simple as that. He didn't really check his shoulder, and that guy, it was just simple what he did. He just checked his run. Dawson carried on running.
But they smelt blood. They smelt blood. As soon as the red card happened, their towels went up. They smelt blood. The only thing I'd say is that Dawson didn't check his shoulders again. It was basics from him, and you know how much I rate Dawson, and it's just a shame that in my mind, look, two sort of quite basic defensive things, being goal side, Cresswell, and checking your shoulders, in some ways cost us. I'm not going to say that was the whole reason we lost the game, but I just think that they were quite basic from two players that I suppose, if you like, should know better. But look,
I do think you've got to give credit to the striker as well, because it was very good movement, very intelligent what he did, and he was good. He was good all night. His movement is tremendous. Is it Bore? Forward?
Yeah, he did cause a lot.
He's just a really good player.
Good player.
Yeah.
So I think we huffed and puffed, didn't we? And we had a few exciting moments, like when Zuma had one cleared off the line, because you're thinking 2 goals down, we've got to get one back quickly to have any form of chance. We nearly got one back just before half time, and but it wasn't to be. It wasn't to be, and we came out in the second half, and straight away from the kickoff in the second half, it was clear that Frankfurt's game plan was to drop to the floor at every opportunity, to waste time, to run down the clock, and that's exactly what they did. And
were you not surprised that Moyes didn't make any positive changes a bit quicker?
Well, I was very surprised. But I say I was surprised. Of course, I'm not, because it's Moyes. It's not really what he does.
We needed 2 goals though.
We were sitting there in the Black Line, and I said to Danny, Benrahma will come on in 70 minutes, and lo and behold, 69 minutes, Benrahma stands up. Right. Yeah. All right. It didn't come on until the 73rd minute, but you can set your watch by David Moyes' substitutes 20 minutes before the end every single time. And why on earth he wants 5 substitutes next year? Why he voted for that, I ain't got a clue, because he's never going to use them.
No.
But yeah, so I think some managers going down to 10 men, they would have gone out and tried to win that game and not worried about conceding more goals. And to me, I think that would have been the correct approach, to absolutely pull out all the stops, even if you've got to sacrifice a defender, and try and go for it, because you're out of the tournament anyway. It doesn't matter whether you lose 1-0, 2-0, 3-0, 4-0. To call it, to end up with a respectable 1-0 defeat, which is, as it turned out, but the game in the end just ran away from us. There was nothing.
There is a bit of me that thinks that I'm not going to say we was all over them second half, but we did really well with 10 men, and. I'm not saying we would have won it or could have won it, but there was a little bit of me with those few chances we created in the game, little half chances where I don't think the ball fell for us. We was unlucky with where some of the ricochets went. We was unlucky. The Zuma one, if the defender wouldn't have got that slightest of touch with his studs, I think he would have headed it in. But it sort of nullified the cross to something, and it just hit him on the chest. So, and there were other occasions where, the Soucek header, he had a free header.
I think he had to get that on target at the very least, didn't he?
But there were little bits in that game. I felt if we would have got one, I felt our tails would have gone up, and I think we as a team would have. Because in the second half, I don't know if you saw. I'm sure you did. Rice was the most forward player at times, and he was calling his troops on, saying, "Get up, get up." We were pressing quite high at times, I felt, for 10 men. But I understand in terms of bringing people off the bench. But apart from Ben Rama, who are
it's not the people bringing people off the bench.
It's a changing style.
I said to Gary there, and I think it might have been to Ross, that he took off Fornals for Ben Rama. That's a like for like. Now, the system he was playing, while we were doing well, it weren't creating clear-cut chances.
It had to be Soucek that came off, didn't it?
So, so for me, do you know what? I'd have took, I don't know, one of the defenders off.
Yeah.
Perhaps he could have took Soucek. Soucek has got, the height for the heading. It was just, we needed another attacker because we needed 2 goals. I don't have a problem with him waiting to the 70th or the 75th minute to do that. Give it a last 15 because we're going out, but we need 2. And we'd seen what Real Madrid had done. Yeah. I'm not saying we were by far and away Real Madrid, but Real Madrid showed it only takes 2 minutes to change a game. Yeah. So with 15 minutes plus injury time to go, another attacker, not just a like-for-like swap. That's the only really complaint I would have to say about the performance, Moyes, or anything else. That I would have preferred to have kept Fornals on and brought Ben Rama on.
Well, I called it half time. That's exactly what I said. I said Soucek off, Fornals in the middle, Ben Rama on the left. Yeah. That was because what my worry was when you take Lanzini out of the mix. He's taken the one player that was going to get anywhere near Antonio out of the game. He took him out of the game. So you got now Antonio's on a hiding to nothing.
Do you not think he could have played?
The way they were marking him, the way that they were marking Antonio, he's on a hiding to nothing because he had one player getting tight to him and he had another one dropping off. He weren't ever going to get fuck all from that. He
wasn't. I'm saying, do you not think it'd have been actually better off keeping the same personnel? But just reorganising,
changing it around.
Fornals back to the left. But keeping Lanzini because not only did we lose Creswell, we lost Lanzini.
Who's all intents and purposes our most technically gifted player.
I don't think he gave himself enough time to think. I think he reacted with a sub too quick. I think he reacted too quick. And like I say, I think we had the players on the pitch to be able to shuffle things around. But I think the way Moyes is risk averse, even when at that time I suppose we're still only 1 goal down. He is risk averse, and he's probably thinking to himself that the last thing that we can do is lose another goal. But after he made the bloody change, Johnson was on that. I wonder if he would have made that change. Do you know what I mean? If we were 2 goals down, so if we were 2 goals behind, would he have made that change? Then I don't think he would. No. But because we was just a 1 goal down. And it was still the same.
I think because, like you said, because it was such an early sending off, he probably reverted to typing so much as, well, it's still 1-0. There's still over an hour left. There's such a long time left. He probably thought, I'm not going to take that risk yet, basically. I'm not going to take such a risk so early on.
Yeah, I know.
Right, we're going to go through these comments. Who's driving the comments tonight? You do them, John.
Go on, John. Go on, John.
Hang on.
Bloody hell, look, Mickey's on time again. 2 weeks in a row.
Leaving against us on the train from Heathrow. I don't know where he's been. Soucek pulled out of position, which pulled Zuma out of position and left Cresswell isolated. Frankfurt movement was exceptional. Yeah, I agree with that. To be honest with you, Grant. Cresswell has to get goal side. We did discuss that a minute ago. People talking amongst themselves. Hang on, let me get down. it was a 50-50. So obviously Paul's talking in reference to Cresswell. Should have let him go, but that sort of thing, he should have let him go. If he would have let him go and he would have scored, we would have all berated him for that as well. So it's a split decision thing, you know. It's the split decision thing. Game changed down to 10 men in their backyard. Yeah, and with the fans, of course it does. Second half subs should have been made earlier. Yeah, we did.
Yeah, they should have been.
Wasn't our night. Zuma was so close. Yeah, there was. I do think, you know, even in the first leg, look, Garino says it here, fine margins, hit the woodwork 3 times in the first leg.
Yeah.
Some chances in the second match, but we lacked pace, creativity. You know what? The thing is we didn't give ourselves a chance in any leg.
No. And look, half inch lower with Bowen in the first leg, half inch to the left in the first leg when he's hit the post. It's a different game, isn't it? So, yeah, you're right, Garino.
Yeah, the only thing I'd say about the substitutions and the timing, I'm not sure about that, because when you're down to 10 men, you can't leave yourself open too early. If you want to win the game, and this is the thing, if you want to win the game, you can't make your subs realistically on the half-hour mark, because that leaves them 30 seconds to attack the space behind you. So I fully appreciate why Moyes sort of did it with 15 minutes to go. Keep it tight, keep us in the game. Last 15, we'll see what we can do. And that's my only disappointment, where I thought we weren't gung-ho enough, because we were going out. And that, I'd like to have seen gung-ho. Let's lose 3-4-0.
Totally agree with that.
But Nige, he was looking to nick that one goal before that 15-minute mark. And let's be honest, we nearly nicked that one goal by, you know, we nearly nicked that goal on a couple of occasions, like the fine margins, the ball's not bouncing.
But their keeper didn't really make one save, did he? Let's be honest.
No, because
a lot of half chances and
no. I agree with you, but that's what I was trying to say. I don't think the ball was falling right for us a lot of the time. I'm not making excuses, but the ricochets, you know, I don't know. We just
I think our manner of attacking was too one-dimensional, though. I think we kind of made it a little. I know we did carve out a few chances, but I do think that we could have attacked differently. I think we were a little bit one-dimensional, which didn't help, I don't think.
No. Garino reckons we should have had someone closer to Antonio.
Yeah, we should have. 100%.
It's hard when you've got 10 men, though, isn't it? I suppose initially.
But
I think in the long term,
you have to throw caution to the wind, though, when you're 2 goals down. You got to, you know.
But I'll go back. If you watch Real Madrid the night before, 90th minute, 5 players in the box.
Yeah. You got to gamble. You got to gamble like that, haven't you? Just make it happen.
Man City could have easily took them and knocked them out, but they knew that it was shit or bust, and Real Madrid went for it. And the times it pays off, and this is the one thing I don't understand about the overcautious managers, where you think the times it pays off for the adventurous teams, where they actually, just by flooding that place, you leave yourself open at the back. But if you're going out, you're going out. It's different for a league game to a cup game. In a cup game, when you're gone, you're gone. This is it. So,
what do you think about the disciplinary stuff with with Wright and then with Moyes as well?
Yeah, well, I think that with Moyes, what did Moyes say? Because that was to do with, sorry, John, that was to do with a ball boy who threw a ball and it didn't quite. He was obviously trying to do it slow and waste time.
He was wasting time. Yeah,
and Moyes has reacted to it, and in the post-match interview, Moyes has said, "Well, he threw it a bit short. It was perfect for the volley, so I smashed it."
I think there was a lot of needle. I'll tell you why. I think Moyes as well, I don't know if he'd said it, but if you'd watched the Frankfurt bench, a lot of the times when referee was making decisions, I think with the Cresswell thing, the whole bench was out of the technical area. Yeah. And I think Moyes had a big problem with that. And I don't know if they'd got under his skin as well, the way that their bench was behaving in the technical area. And I think he thought, I'll give it a bit, I'll give it a bit back to you. I don't have a problem with that.
I don't have a problem with that. Why don't we do it? Why don't we do it as well? Why haven't we got Stuart Pearce and everyone on the bench?
In regards to ball boys, I think you'll find that if you watch the ball boys at the London Stadium, when they're throwing it to West Ham, they'll be quicker than if they're throwing it to... And this is the thing I always find about managers, because they all complain about time wasting. Yet if West Ham was 2-0 up, you'd have seen our boys going down with cramp.
Oh yeah.
You know, and that's why I don't like to complain about it.
No.
It's the dark arts, and everybody does it.
Do you remember? Was it Stoke that used to give their players towels to dry the ball for
Rory Delap?
Yeah. But they never give it to anyone else. That's football, like you said. It's the dark arts, whatever you want to call it.
But how did West Ham counteract that? You know what we did?
Go on.
We put advertising signs closer to the pitch to stop Rory Delap having such a big run.
But and that's brilliant, and that's what you got to do. And this is where we need to become next season. This is the next element of our growth. And I know you don't like to see it. None of us like to see it. But for instance, when Bowen got tackled the other day against by the Arsenal keeper Ramsey, innit? Yeah. Ramsey. He's got to do what every other decent player would do: jump over the tackle and leave his leg in, so as he takes a touch, and then all the pundits will be going, "Look at that dirty bastard keeper who's just brought him down."
Yeah, I think if he'd have left his leg in there at that speed, though, Gary, he took the risk of getting his leg broken.
You leave the leg in off the floor, so you get a touch, right? But it ain't going to hurt you, right? That'll be fine. If he'd have caught him with a leg planted, but what I'm saying is, we do that time and again. We try and stay on our feet, and you hear these pundits say it blatantly. They say, "Oh, we should have gone down there," right? If everyone else is doing it, even though I don't like to see it, if everyone else is doing it, we got to do it as well. And that goes for that goes for like the managers on the bench, getting in the ear of the referee, getting out. Don't fucking stand on the edge of your technical area. Go and stand on the touchline like every other manager. If the other manager's doing it, you do it as well, Moyes. And then if you get told off, the other manager will get told off as well, because he was bitching about that because Arteta did it last week. Well, you do it as well. And then if you've got another, it only takes you 10 minutes to spot what the other team are doing. If they're all rushing off the bench or their backroom staff, get your fucking backroom staff down here and start surrounding them as well. Play like for like. If you got to do it, you got to do it.
Yeah, that's right. I'll tell you what, go on, John. Sorry.
Even when we do it, it doesn't look natural when we do it.
It's not natural to us.
We look like our players can't dive properly, if that's what you want to call it. And
it's got to become natural, John. It's got to become natural. I don't remember Moyes' Everton team being fucking, shining stars of morality. I thought they were a dirty, filthy side who used to kick lumps out of you.
Yeah, but look at Bowen against Arsenal. We got up and said he didn't touch me.
Yeah, I know. It's naive.
Which is admirable, but in the same breath, you've made the decision for the ref, haven't you?
I don't get there with that. I know it's last week's game, and this is like why yellow cards should be rescinded. Is that if he gets up and says he didn't touch me, how the fuck can he be booked with diving?
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, and this is the thing I don't get about the referee and everything. He gets up and goes, "No, he didn't touch me." So he's admitted he didn't touch me.
But Nigel, he'd made his mind up as he was running up. He was getting that card out of his pocket, wasn't he? He was
yeah.
Would Bowen have said it if he straight away give Ramsdale a red card?
No, I would have thought so. I hope not.
No,
I hope not.
Ramsdale, the funny thing is the referee booked the wrong player. It should have been our free kick. What I don't get about refs, you don't need to have been a pro footballer to know that sometimes you don't need to be touched to be taken out.
Absolutely.
You can hang. He left his leg there hanging. When and this is where you think if you're going to have VAR, let's do it properly. Yeah. He went in stud's eye. If Ramsdale kept his leg low down to the floor and slid in, all well and good. He didn't. If you look at his studs were shin high. Studs were shin high. What was he supposed to do?
No.
Well, if it would have got his leg broken.
But I disagree with Gary. I don't think we should revert to cheating. For me,
coming you cheats.
I believe in that West Ham are better than that.
What do we think? What do we think? What do we think here? As Peter's brought up about Rice's comments in the tunnel after the game to the ref.
Well,
that's a good point.
To be honest, when Moyes got sent off,
was the ref that bad? Was the ref honestly that bad?
Hold on a minute. When Moyes got sent off, I tweeted out the referee's corrupt. Can't fucking say. I got slated for it. I got absolutely slated.
I don't think he had a bad game.
And that's fine. But in the afterwards, he said, "Have you been paid or something?" Rice said in the tunnel, and he's going to get in trouble for that.
I'll be honest with you. I agree with Nick. I don't think that. Look, we had it with Arsenal where it's the gamesmanship stuff, right? And as fans, we don't like gamesmanship when the shoe's on the other foot. Let's be honest, right?
Yeah.
And I don't think the ref was that bad the other night. Personally,
No.
I
thought he was an Omer. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I think he was out of his depth. It was his first ever
Yeah,
European
no.
final.
Completely.
No, I don't think he was that bad, but he was sucked in a little bit. I felt he got sucked in a little bit. But I
think the crowd and the event and the atmosphere, I think it got to him. If you're going to referee your first European semi-final, piss off and do it in the Conference League first, before you do a game like that. I'm not sure he was bought. But that's the frustration. Look, we've all been there, haven't we? Let's face it.
He weren't bought. He was intimidated. He weren't a big enough character for it.
Yeah, but Gary, what I'm saying is, I mean, add some substance to it. Give me an example of what he did, what he got wrong.
Because he let them get away with murder. He was booking our players for nothing. He was letting them get away with every bit of play acting, every bit of time wasting in the second half, and that is what frustrated Rice, I think, because they wasted.
I mean, the Antonio one. I must admit, I think the Antonio one was annoying because that bloke was all over him, and Antonio.
Listen, from early on in the game, it looked like he was giving all the decisions their way. I'm sorry, that's what it looked like. For me, the sending off annoyed me, but in retrospect, in hindsight now, I've seen it again. I sort of agree it was a sending off. The Moyes sending off, probably deserved as well. But other than that aside, the 2 red cards, every other decision he made, a lot of them went to the home team. And as we've already said, West Ham do not play a dirty game. We do not do the diving and the cheating. We're not even a physical team that kicks other players all over the pitch, right? So to have so many fucking decisions and yellow cards go against us, we know we're innocent. And that referee just got sucked into the atmosphere. The atmosphere was too big for him. The game was too big for him. Why the hell are they trying out a new semi-final referee on us?
But ultimately, Gary, the 2 things that happened in the game were fuck all to do with the ref. The sending off, it was a sending off, and the goal was nothing to do with the referee. So
they weren't the only 2 things that happened. I mean, everything has cause and effect for everything.
The 2 key things.
Nick. There's cause and effect for everything, right? I think he booked Rice, didn't he? He booked lots of he booked a few of our players. He was giving them decisions all the time. If he doesn't give those decisions, if he doesn't give those bookings, then who knows what happens to that move, right? Our move breaks down. He lets them play act to stop one of our moves. Who knows what happens if he doesn't let them play act, right? So to me, he wasn't a good referee. I completely agree with Nigel on that. I think he was out of his depth.
Okay, so just to add a bit of balance from people in the chat, Garino says ref was not that terrible. Did not give us much, as there was many fouls in Antonio, but have seen a lot worse.
Absolutely.
And I agree with him. I think there has been a lot worse. But
I didn't want to be in a situation where I said, "Oh, it was bad, but I've seen a lot worse." I wanted to be impressed, like that Swiss referee, the other guy. I wanted to have a brilliant, blinding referee for the semi-final. Why are we getting some young upstart doing refereeing his first semi-final?
It is a strange decision to put, him into such a big game. I agree with you there, right? Because he's on a hiding to nothing, I think, to some degree. But you would like to have seen an experienced referee, like you said. That Swiss referee we had in the other game was, I thought,
brilliant.
The bloke we had in Seville. Bearing in mind, we lost that game 1-0, so it ain't like we're sitting here going, he done us. We lost that game 1-0, and we all said at the time, "Fuck me, didn't he do well?"
Because Seville from the kickoff were throwing themselves all to the floor. He was saying, "Get up." He was standing for none of it, and that's what you need.
Yeah.
He reckons the ref was intimidated by the flag waving.
I agree. Yeah.
No, the atmosphere and everything. Imagine being a referee, a green referee walking out in front of that. I mean, when you referee in the Swiss league, isn't it? Well, you got like one man and a sheep. What do they get?
Refereeing has let players down all season, not just West Ham, but matches throughout their game. There's always been question marks. Recently, there's been a lot of question marks over refereeing.
But weren't VAR supposed to stop all this?
It's made it worse.
It was supposed to.
And this is the thing.
It's made it worse.
I was anti-VAR from the start because all you've done is you've took one unit. Who sent Creswell off? Who said it
VAR.
as well?
VAR.
People. Yeah.
The human referee, yeah, who's sitting in a fucking TV studio miles away. Yeah. So you've took the decision away from the referee in the pitch and give it to a bloke sitting in a studio. It's still human. You've still got human error. All he is looking at it from 30 different angles, which football, was never invented to be refereed in that way.
No.
But this is a fantastic point. I didn't even think of this. The fact that the ref only give a yellow in the first place
shows he ain't corrupt. He ain't corrupt.
Yeah. Not shows he ain't corrupt, but also it shows the fact that he was wrong to not give him a red in the first place. So maybe that questions how good he was in the first place. That makes sense.
Yeah. That's a good point.
Look, Deck's comments are made as he walks off the pitch at the height of his disappointment and frustration.
Exactly.
When you're that close to achieving what you dream, nobody thought. Let's look at it. Who thought in August we would be there in that situation?
No.
Exactly. Even going out to Frankfurt, we're still in the game. All right, we're 3-1 down, but we're 2 goals behind. It's still doable, isn't it? And so right up and probably till the last 5 minutes, you think it's still doable. Still a chance if you get one, we could force another.
Definitely.
So to get all that way, and as a player, especially Declan, in a way, he's going to cop a ban for it. He'll get the 3 games.
Yeah.
So,
Do you know the biggest disappointment is, Nigel, to what you've just said there, just to add to it, is the fact that we got all the way to the semi-final. We were fantastic throughout the campaign. We had some fantastic results away from home, Leon, obviously. And we wasn't able to pit 11 against 11 or in the ultimate game, in the penultimate game, the second leg. We wasn't able, the early goal cost us in the first leg and the early sending off. So in a way, we was on the back foot from the off in both games. And it's a shame that we weren't able to, you know what I mean?
I blame January.
Yeah. So let's go. Right. So I think. Look, let's be honest. It was an absolute choker. We were all choked. We were sick as a parrot, and we took ourselves off. Me, Nigel.
Only one mate to celebrate, mate.
Me, Nigel, Danny, and Sadie, and Ross, my son. We went on a walk because it was their first time over here. They'd been to see 2 games live that we lost 2-1, and then saw a game live on telly where we got beat 1-0. So they had the best of trips for results, but we thought,
are they banned from going West Ham there? Because they've been
no. Listen, you know what this is? This is a test of your West Ham credentials, if anything, right? Yeah, and I've got to be honest, they were as keen at the end as they were at the beginning. So we took them down Dogshit Alley. That's a lovely tourist spot. On the way to the old Upton Park, and
there was a lump of dog shit halfway down.
There was a lump of dog shit.
There was a fucking big dog that left it as well.
And then I've got to be honest, it's the first time I've been back to the old Upton Park, which is now a housing estate, a load of flats. First time I've been back there since we left on that last game against Man United. And honestly, I found it, after what we'd just been through, I was feeling a bit teary already, a bit choked up, and walking around there, I was getting quite emotional. And but it was lovely to walk around, and Nigel did a great job in doing his history bit, telling because I didn't notice this. And go on, Nigel, talk about the flats.
No, so all but one of the flats are named after ex-club employees or players of West Ham United. Yeah. So as we walked in, you got Wally St Pierre Court, Lyle Court, Jimmy Ruffle, Noel Cantwell. The only odd one out is Chamberlain Court, which I did explain the reason that I won't go publicly. What I believe it was called Chamberlain Court.
You can't do that.
I'll tell you off here. Well, I think it was called Chamberlain Court, but yeah, so it's incorporated, obviously, the names. I don't know if people know, but the names were voted on by players or by fans of the club.
Right.
So the developers did open it up to a section of the fan base, and these were the names that they came up with. So I think there's still another 2 buildings left to be completed, which are the ones on Green Street. I took you and showed you the last remaining part of the original bowling ground.
Yeah.
Still in existence that nobody knows. Everybody walks past it. I love it. You watch these old videos. We watch these videos of these people going to visit the flats, and they show you everything, and they all walk past this one piece. I'm not going to say what it is because it's a surprise, but there's one part of the original game still standing. So I've got to take them there, and they have their photograph done there. And
so let's test that. Let's test our viewers out. If you know what that part of the ground is, put it in the chat. Right?
I do.
No, don't say anything, John.
I won't say nothing. No, I won't say nothing.
But I'll tell you what, it was emotional. And what's the only thing I watched? There's this guy, and I don't know his name, but he runs a YouTube channel, and he's a Liverpool supporter that goes and visits all other grounds. And he went to London Stadium. He went back to the old Upton Park, which is where we walked the other night. And he walked round and he found where we found ourselves at the end, which was the old centre circle, right? He didn't know whether it was the old centre circle or not because there's no plaque or anything there. So he said, I've got to be honest, is this all that's left of West Ham? And I thought, oh, that's terrible. And so when you took me around the other night and you showed me all the flats that were named after ex-players and whatever else and scouts, I thought, oh, he's completely fucking missed this. He's completely missed it.
Yeah, you know, it's you know, hopefully this summer, you know, I'll take you boys on the tour.
Yeah.
We'll start at the Thames Ironworks, and then I'll walk you from the beginning of the club to, you know, where a few of us think it ended in 2016.
Yeah.
You know, before the new club was formed in 2016 in Stratford.
It's true, though, isn't it?
And for years, I used to say that, and a few people come up to me and went, the way I dealt with West Ham leaving Upton Park was to say, the club will end here.
Yeah.
A new club, that is new.
Exactly.
West Ham
Compartmentalize it.
Yeah, compartmentalize it. And that way, it meant I didn't cry when we left Upton Park. I didn't have tears in my eyes. It was like, this is it. It's done. We start again. Yeah. You know, they can have their new history. We'll keep the old history.
So Barney says here, right, Nige?
Yeah.
He says, which centre circle? Right.
Well, we had this
Barney.
discussion.
Good question. We had this very discussion. Go on, Nige.
Well, the funny thing is that obviously I think they've chosen the centre circle from its final resting place as such, when actually it should have been over to the left, because obviously the pitch was nearer to Priory Road when the bowling ground was first developed. Yeah, the old Chicken Run and the new Chicken Run that replaced the old Chicken Run replaced it in exactly the same place. So the original pitch was further over towards Priory Road. Which was funny, because if you remember the last night of Upton Park, and they stood Paolo Di Canio, and they said, Paolo, it was about here where you volleyed the ball, and he's on the edge of the area. And I remember looking at my mate and going, actually, it was 10 yards further to the left because we've moved the pitch over.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
So well, yes, technically. So it depended on what centre spot. The patch of grass is on where the final resting spot was of, you know, post 2001. So Upton Park post 2001. When the West Ham was built,
Nigel certified this because he was doing GPS mapping while we were there. Right? He was right. So there's a lot of takers for your tours, Nigel. So Grant wants a tour.
Yeah.
Lawrence wants a tour.
We'll definitely.
We don't know the name. How much is the tour?
How much is the tour?
Do you know what it is? And this is the thing. I've done it. Funny enough, right? I think I've taken more Americans around. Well, no, I haven't. Well, I've taken separately. So I took a group of 2 Americans round. Then another one brought his other American mate and did it again. Dave brought his other American mate. And then we did it again. Yeah. And then I had one of them insisted their daughter done it when she was in the country. Yeah. And now I've just
looks like you got another one, because I think Lawrence lives in the US and he wants a tour.
The Americans love it, and obviously Danny and Mercedes. So that's what's that? That's 6 Americans that I've taken a tour. I've took a few Germans round.
Can I just ruin the mood a little bit?
Go on.
Spurs have just scored away at Liverpool, 1-0 up, 55th minute.
Bloody hell.
Have they really?
Anyway, sorry.
That is at White Hart Lane, by the way. Not away, but
there is no. Spurs just scored. Hold on a minute. Is the centre? This is a good question. Is it centre kickoff spot? No, there is no kickoff spot there, and it's not even mentioned that it's a centre circle.
No.
We just confirmed that that's what it was just through
grass.
GPS matching. It's a patch. We did a dummy kickoff though, and Nigel. Well, I kicked it to Danny. I passed it back to Nigel, and Nigel put it in the top corner.
That never happened in reality. Let's be honest. That's why he was the keeper, because he couldn't kick a ball.
But
yeah,
it was wondering because there was people walking about. It's like 10:30 at night. We're in like a square of block of flats on this grassland. And there's people walking around looking at these 5 West Ham.
Taking photos
and kicking an imaginary ball. We didn't have a ball. We just pretended we had a ball.
It must have looked like Badil and Skinner, Phoenix from the Flames, So, but no, actually, we walked round, didn't we, to the mural, and they got their photo done in front of the Brooklyn and Bonds mural. So if you've not seen that, that's the thing, And funny enough, going into the flats when I've done the tours in the past, when I took 2 of them, the worst one was when I took my Americans, John and Dave, and we're walking up. So we've started off in Canning Town, worked our way up to Upton Park, and as we're standing at the Bobby Moore stand, they're crunching it.
No.
And we stood there for 10 minutes.
Oh, I couldn't watch that.
Watching this cruncher, literally this big thing crunching the Bobby Moore stand. And you're thinking, ooh,
that's like someone murdering one of my relatives.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
It was a bit surreal to be there when they done that. That was 5 years ago.
That was my stand. You used to be in there. No, you were down the other end, weren't you?
Well, I did I spent 3 years there. 1 year as a youth, when I was 28.
Yeah.
And then I used to pay a mate to. Don't laugh. I've still got the season book to prove that I was a junior, age 28. Youth ticket. And then that season gave me a great idea because this is the thing, it was a paper ticket, isn't it? So you'd go up and you'd get the odd turnstile opera and go, oh, you ain't a kid. And you go, oh, fucking come on, mate, let me in. They're going, no, you ain't coming in. So you just walk along to the next one. Yeah, and they'd let you in. And then what I'd done is that halfway down there was a bit of a gap, wasn't there? So on the as you walk in on the right hand side, so you come up the steps, you'd go down, and there was a gap. There was like a wider walkway, like a disabled exit to where the Priory Road was. And I worked out that the program sellers used to stand there. They used to let them in to stand there. So for all that season, they thought I was a program seller that sold out early.
Bloody hell.
Then I devised another plan where I paid my mate 50 quid to lose his season book after the first game of the season. They would issue him with another season book of vouchers. So I could just walk in, put a voucher in, and then I did that, I think, for 3 years, gospel, until they built the new West Stand. And then I got my first OAP ticket. So I was about 31 then. And then I got my first OAP ticket. So what happened is the only reason I went legit was the playoff final. They sent my playoff final ticket, obviously, to the OAP because it was in his name. They sent it to his house address. So I was running around trying to buy up tickets for the playoff final against the first one we lost, Palace. And luckily, because the geezer had gone on holiday to Spain. Yeah. And you thought, I can't be having that again. So age 32, I finally got a season ticket in my own name.
Through gritted teeth, paying that money.
Yeah. And to be honest, I'd started taking my nephew as well. So it was sort of like, I've got to stop scamming this.
Garino reckons Cameron Brady's going to be after you after hearing all this.
Well, yeah. It's the good thing about it.
Secretly, he would love that.
When Golden Sullivan bought the club, they openly admitted they only had 4 years worth of who had been season ticket holders details.
Yeah.
West Ham never kept a record of how long people had been a season ticket holder for until like the Icelandics bought the club or something like that.
And that amazing, and that a real kick in the nuts. I mean,
it is for those of you that have had season tickets in your name.
Oh, come on, I've got
30, 40 years.
Listen,
some of us are like, I don't really care well in my name anymore.
Well, my first season ticket was in the old West Stand. It was a half season ticket before they put the Bobby Moore up, and then when the Bobby Moore was built, I've had a season ticket from the day it was built. I had the same seats. Me and my dad, my cousin, my uncle, we had the same seats for that whole while it was there. Then it was knocked down, and then I've had season tickets in a new place since. And and to think they haven't even got a record of that. So I've got a 4-digit client code. There ain't many of those. There ain't many of those out there, no. Just a 4-digit client code.
When I started keeping season books, so this was my season ticket, block A. In my uncle's name, there, row N, seat 14, 80, 81, 82.
Yeah.
82, 83. This was the last one. This is, look, just to show my kids' season ticket, 2003 for concession. This is my OAP one, actually. Another concession, 2002, 2003.
Evening, David. Thanks for joining.
Yeah, so, I had quite a few of them,
But no, so look, we cards. Going back to it, we ended the night in a really nice way. It was horrible seeing West Ham lose, really horrible, and I didn't want to talk about it the next day. And this is the first time I've talked about it since. To be honest, I just didn't want anything to do with it. I do that. I do when something really hurts. When you're up for there's a massive game and it really hurts when you lose. I do a media blackout for 24 hours. I can't have anything to do with it. So Nick, we're going to do quickly player ratings on this.
Yeah. I've got that all set up. I can do that now. 1 minute.
I'll tell you what. Carry on without me. I'll be back in 2 minutes.
No worries. No worries.
Mickey Smith's along with you, Nigel. Yeah, me and my old dad had season tickets in 2018's names for years.
I came from the school of fucking, if you don't have to pay, don't pay.
Bloody right, and all. Bloody right, and all.
I remember when I got my
the home leg I paid. If you listen to the podcast, you'd have heard me say it. So for the home leg against Frankfurt, my nephew came down, so he had my season ticket seat, which was £35, band 5. So I bought a club 66 seat off of someone that I knew, and they'd offered to sell. And I went, I'll have it. And I said, I'll have it before I got the price, so everything. So then he goes, that's £81. I mean, I must admit, the deal
£81.
Right, £81. It's a club 66 seat, so it's padded and it's got his name on it, and you sit near the halfway line. Fantastic view. The only thing is, the dearest I'd ever paid for a home ticket before was £45. That hurt.
Yeah.
As I say, yes. It's not that I'm tight. I just used to think, well, they're only going to waste it on shit players. So why would I give them my money?
All the money you've saved over the years, you've been able to add to your museum that you're sitting in now.
Well, to be honest, it does.
Basically, the merchandise you got in your shed is through the proceeds of fraud.
Well, there's a lot of truth to that, actually, in more ways than one. But yeah, I suppose you're right there, and I'm proud of it.
It ain't quite much. I do apologise.
Oh dear.
Right, should we start with the match ratings then? Get through these.
Yeah.
Right, go on in, Nigel. We go to you for Areola. What did you think of him on the other night?
I mean, he didn't have an outstanding save to make, did he?
No,
that I can remember.
No.
So even when we were down to 10 men, I mean, I ain't going to shortchange him.
He did nothing wrong, did he? He didn't do anything wrong.
7 for me.
7. Yeah, you happy with that, John?
Yeah, he didn't have to do a lot. I don't think they tested him really. I mean, I know that the goal, he couldn't nothing about the goal. It was an open goal almost, but yeah, I think a 7. You know, 6, 7. I'd say 7 because I'll give him 7.
Yeah, I think what we got in the chat, we got 6. Yeah, so that's right. What do you reckon, Gal? 7? Should we go with 7 for Areola? He didn't really have much to do, did he? To be honest.
No, I thought his distribution was pretty good. He did his best. He was quick off the mark a lot of times.
Right, let's go to Vlad Sufel. We'll leave Cresswell to the end of the. We'll do him last.
Can I just say, please, no donkey.
No,
you can't come on here telling us.
That's them. Them's the rules. They are the rules.
Them's the rules.
So John Sufel.
You know what?
I'll tell you what. Now, hang on a minute. It all depends on whether we give someone a 4 or lower, right?
Cresswell's going to get a foot. He's going to get a.
Well, I don't know. We leave it up to the people to decide. We will leave Cresswell up to the people in the chat to decide the score. I think that's the fairest way to do it. It's going to be
brutal. I think. Yeah.
I would happily give Sufal a 10 for fucking. Oh, sorry. I would happily give him a 10 for standing in front of the Frankfurt ultras and not giving the monkeys that they.
Yeah, that was good. I saw that.
He did not give a.
I think it's the comment after that actually made it. I don't really know what he said.
What did he say?
He said they had more to worry about me than I did of them.
I'll tell you, he's a big game player, and I thought he had a good game. To be fair,
I thought he had a game, and I don't think he done much wrong at all. I thought he was quite strong, and he
wasn't a problem, was he?
No, it wasn't a problem. So I'm happy with a 7 personally. I'm happy with.
I'll go 7. I'll go 7.
I think so. What are they saying in the chat for Sufel?
6s and
pretty
7s.
much similar 6s and 7s. You know, so yeah. I mean, I thought he done well. There was obviously a debate whether he should start ahead of Fredericks. To me, it wasn't really a debate because I trust Sufal largely more than I trust Fredericks in defensive situations, and I thought he coped with it well. So yeah, for me, I thought he was all right.
Gary Dawson.
Well, I got to be honest. I don't think him or Zuma covered themselves in glory the other night. I think they were pulled out of shape so often. I wouldn't go low enough to give him a 4 or whatever, but I'd give him I'd give Dawson a 5.
I think below average. They were, but yeah.
Is 5 below average?
No, in our scoring rating it is.
I would have thought 6 was below average.
No, that's not how we do it. So 5 below average.
Have a look at the key. Have we not looked at the key?
Yeah, the key's up the top, Nige. The key's up the top. Look, the key's up the top.
The key up the top, Nige. It's still
there you go. So below average is 5, and a 4 or below is a donkey head.
Well, yeah, but when your average is so high as Dawson's is,
he had a poor game.
I mean, on 6foot2.co.uk. Of course.
Yeah, go on.
I gave no one, apart from Creswell, less than 6.
Right.
Who did the fans? The people voting him?
Well, in fact, a lot of people actually. When I looked at I can get you I'll look it up. So when we're done, I'll give you what the fans on my website gave you, and we'll compare it then.
Well, I think looking at the people in the chat, most of them are going 6.
Yeah. We'll go for. We'll go with.
Look, I'm his biggest fan. You know, I am. But I think the goal was schoolboy. He did not take me shouldering out. I think he wasn't his usual solid self. I would have said a high 5.
Yeah,
possibly. I'm happy with a 6. So you know.
Right, Zuma. We go to Nige on Zuma.
It puts me a bit of a quandary here because I think Zuma and Dawson were roughly the same.
Yeah.
You know, personally, I would be scoring them a 6.
Yeah.
But now you've given Dawson a 5.
No. Oh yeah, we have.
And
well, I think we should take it on an average of us and the people in the chat.
Yeah, because
if we did that, it would be a 6.
Yeah. I would mark them as. I don't think they were 2 points worse than Kufal.
No, I think you're right. I don't
want to.
That's quite good.
I don't want to pour water on your scoring.
No. But the only thing is, Nige, Sufel didn't do anything that directly led to a goal. Zuma and Dawson were both at fault when Cresswell was in the mire, And then, to be quite honest, Zuma didn't really do enough to cut the cross out, and Dawson was just in fucking no man's land for that goal.
Yeah,
He didn't check his shoulder. So the two big moments in that game defensively, they were involved with, and Soufal wasn't.
I agree with that.
That's a good point, Nick. That's a good point, mate.
Yeah. And
I mean, the chat's quite varied. There's a couple of 4s. There's mostly 6s. I mean,
4s, they're just donkey watchers.
They're donkey watchers.
Matt Crawley's gone 4. He didn't. I bet he didn't vote on 6foot2.co.uk, did he?
No.
Matt, get yourself subscribed to 6foot2.co.uk. So you bring that average down
with his polls.
Yeah,
I'd say I agree with Nigel. I think he has to be the same as Dawson, but I also agree with Nick. I think Soufal gets away with it a little bit because he didn't directly influence any of the key points, which were the sending off and the goal. That's how I do see it. I sort of see Nick's opinion, if I'm honest. So,
all right, well, let's just to save arguments. There's a lot of 6s there. Let's go Zuma 6, and we'll mark Dawson up as a 6 as well.
Yeah, I think it's fair. That's what the chat's saying. Yeah.
Okay, right now
the big one.
The big one. I'm going to go to John on Cresswell.
Listen, there's no doubt that he's sending off probably cost us any chance of getting back in the tie, right? There's no doubt about that, and he'll be the first to admit it. I'm not going to judge him on previous. I'm not going to judge him on the fact that he got sent off against Leon and all this other stuff. I have to judge him on that. And at the end of the day, it was a poor decision on both fronts. He didn't really look like he knew what he wanted to do. It was neither here nor there for me. It was either let the ball bounce, let the man go. It was nothing. He just looked absolutely. Look, I love Chris Paul. He just looked a bit bewildered in that moment, you know. And I feel for him. I feel for him massively because he knows that he's possibly cost the club any chance of getting through to the final. We may not have, you know. But for me, because he got sent off at such an important, crucial time and so early as well, and it did probably cost us the game. And if we're going to give Zuma and Dawson 6s, then for me, as harsh as it sounds, and you know I'm not usually this harsh, but for me, it'd have to be a 4.
It's a well-deserved 4, and I love Cresswell. You know, I love Cresswell, and you know what? And the thing is, I do feel sorry for him because nobody is going to be beating Cresswell up as much as what he'll be beating himself up at the moment. You know,
absolutely.
You know, I do feel, but this is how we mark, and this does feel harsh because when we do these, you know, the donkey was introduced as a bit of fun, really, so that when we mark someone down, but it really was a donkey moment, wasn't it? To be quite honest, it was.
It was.
You know,
and I think when you look at the average scores that people are giving in the chat, it's everything from 0 to 2 to 4. And Barney's saying not happy with the scapegoat. Listen, it's not scapegoating, Barney. We don't scapegoat people. What we're doing here is we're just marking him on the 17-minute performance that he put in.
Yeah.
And that included a sending off that probably cost us our place in the Europa Cup final. So I don't think he deserves any more.
What do you think, Nigel? Do you think we're harsh with that score of him? Come on, you've got to be realistic.
No, realistically, for me, I couldn't give a donkey's head. It'd be a 5.
Yeah, but no. Well, forget the donkey's head. Forget the donkey's head.
But then you're saying he was only 2 marks worse than, or 1 mark worse than Zuma and Dawson. Yet
I mean, if you take the donkey's head off, I'll give him a 4. But no donkey's head.
Perhaps we'd do an exception in this instance to say, look, go out to Cresswell.
Don't go on 6foot2.co.uk.com.
Look, Gary. Listen, to be fair, we do this week in, week out, and so look, none of the players ever watch this show, but what I'm saying is, you've got to be fair. If we put you know, the amount of donkeys that Ben Rama's had in his head, I'm surprised we've got any left. You know what I mean? So So you've got to be fair.
It's only fair. It's only fair.
Well, look, I'll tell you what. Right, my readers gave Cresswell an average. Bearing in mind, I did give him a 5 of 3.8.
There you go.
So that's a 4.
So
there you go.
Yeah.
It is a 4. Them's the rules, right? Okay. Souček, I'm going to go. I'll do Souček this week. No. I gave him to someone else last week, but Souček for me, I thought I was I don't think before the sending off. I think his passing was atrocious. He looked like he was chasing shadows. He looked like he wasn't in the game. I don't know what he was doing. I even after the sending off, I didn't quite know what Souček was about. To be honest, I mean, Moyes did allude to the fact in his press conference was it last week, where he somebody must have asked him the question about playing players when they're not in form, and it must have been after the Arsenal game, and he said, he said Souček, he said I play him because we need that height. He basically plays him because he's tall, and
that was quite scathing by Moyes.
It's quite scathing. He basically plays him because of his height.
That's basically what he said. That's basically what he said.
Yeah. If you're Souček and you hear that, how are you feeling?
I know.
Well, there's stuff in the background going on with him and the club, and
he wants to move, doesn't he?
There's talk of possibly Juventus. There's talk of Spurs.
Spurs can have him.
They can have him.
Well, no,
they can have him.
The funny thing is that if what's being offered is right and whatever, West Ham would take the money.
40 million.
But can I say something? No.
Yeah.
We can't just go let them have him because how many players we lose it in the summer anyway? If we lose ones that we ain't got to lose, we've got to buy.
But John, if you're talking 40, 50 million for Souček and you can go and get a Calvin Phillips for 40, 50 million. But then that's a good upgrade in my opinion. And look, as I've said before, Souček, I get why people love him. I do get why people love him, but I have never understood him as a player. I haven't, even when he was scoring goals. I've never understood him as a player. I haven't.
I've got to say that it's taken me a long time to come around to this way of thinking, but I do agree with Nick's assessment on Souček now. I think the guy is useless on the floor, and he's useless when he's put under pressure. He's a big unit who gets forward, who is a defensive midfielder, so he'll cut out he'll cut out chances and stuff like that. He'll get in people's faces. He'll get the odd goal. He'll go forward. He's a presence at set pieces. He's a presence in the box defending set pieces as well. But he's a very limited footballer for what we need. He's playing alongside a Rolls Royce in Declan Rice. And this season, because Rice has improved so much, it's kind of made Souček look very
Gary, having Noble back in the team now. Look, this is no slight on Noble, but it was a breath of fresh air.
It was
having Noble back in the side alongside Rice, because Noble can play at least. He can retain the ball. He's technically he's assured.
Legend. Yeah.
I thought at the beginning of the season when he was having a mare. That one where he did that dodgy back pass and gave the goal away. I was thinking, he's just tired from the summer because he's just having a bad season. But as the season drew on, it kind of struck me that people had suddenly figured him out. And if you're going to get found out, you're going to get found out in the Premier League. And people started getting in his face and panicking him off the ball. So he had no time. And as soon as he had no time, he was half the player.
Yeah, I think though, I've said it before. I think, and Matt's put it here, just reminded me. I do think Souček is Moyes' West Ham version of Fellaini.
He's not as good though.
Well, I'm not saying he is or isn't. I'm not saying that. I think he has got him. Fellaini used to score a lot of headers, back post, and all that. And a lot of people didn't used to get Fellaini. And look, his work rate is.
It's phenomenal. It is phenomenal. We know how much he runs, but I do agree he has gone off the boil. He doesn't. All right, he's not scoring. That's fine, but he's not creating. He's not doing anything. He does. Even in the box, even his job sort of box to box, he feels like he's behind the play all the time, doesn't it? It doesn't. It feels like he's chasing shadows almost to a degree.
He looks lost a little bit. He does look lost a little bit, and it hasn't just happened today. It's been a few months. I love him. I love him for what he did when he came into the club, and I just hope that
he was the right player at the time, wasn't he?
Yeah, but he may well come to the again. I mean, let's not write him off because of a few bad months. And to be honest with you, as someone put in a chat, we're not going to sell him to Spurs, are we?
No.
If he goes anywhere, he'll go abroad.
I wouldn't sell Rice to Spurs, but I'd probably sell Souček. But look, it is what it is. But look, for me, I would go 5 below average. But I don't know what you think.
I would go 5 for Souček. I thought he had a poor game.
Yeah. John,
I'm judging it by him, and how he normally plays, I think for him he had one of his average games, which is not great. But an average game.
Yeah, but it's not an average based on him. It's an average how he affected the game.
Well, he didn't, did he? But then again, we have to take into account that with 10 men, it does make it harder to impact the game or influence the game to some degree, unless you're Declan Rice, of course. I'll go with a 5.
Yeah, and Barney has got a point, but Barney has got a good point there.
You wouldn't get a 5. For me, 6.
Yeah. Okay. Well, you outvoted Nige on this one. You're outvoted on that one. So we're going to go 5. And like I say,
me and Barney are kindred brothers. So,
but do you know what though? I've got to the stage now where I'm not escaping about Souček now because I actually feel like it's not shooting fish in the barrel with him. It feels like you could just pull him apart a lot.
I feel quite sorry for him.
I feel sorry for him. So
he's played a lot of football.
I know.
Since he's joined West Ham, he's not stopped playing football.
I know.
Yeah, but Nige, you've said it in the past. The old days, we either use that as an excuse or we don't. And for me, it is a justifiable excuse, but it is all they do is play football. They train for it, they play for it. I just think to an extent.
The thing is, he's not a creative player, and this is the thing. I don't know.
No, I know he isn't.
He probably had the best spell of his whole footballing career.
Yeah.
In the first year he played for us.
Agreed.
And everybody's looking at that going, what's wrong with him? Where actually he was probably bought off the back of putting in performances like he puts in now.
Yeah.
A steady player in the middle.
I think that was a style of football, Nige, that we played when Souček first came in, which was pretty much, it was like I like to call it, it was shithouse football and it was effective. It was very direct. It was getting crosses into the box. It was all set piece orientated. And we evolved a little bit after Lingard came in. We started playing fast counter-attacking football. Once Lingard came in, Souček went off the boil because he can't.
But he wasn't needed, was he? He wasn't needed going forward.
No, it's not his game. So
look, what Richard says here, Souček's height has helped us a few times this season at crucial moments, just not nearly enough times to justify his selection. I guess he's saying week in, week out. But this is going to be. I think this is going to be a constant theme. But there's not really much else to bring in. But you know what, Nick? I thought I thought a minute ago when you said about Noble being a breath of fresh air when he played the other day, who's to say Noble couldn't have played a bit more?
He should have. I think looking at that the other day, and also and we'll go into it later. But when we talk about the lack of squad depth and this, that, the other, one of the frustrating things when you look back to the Chelsea game where David Moyes did rotate a lot of players through the fact that he had to. Do you know what? That was quite a refreshing performance. And it proved that David Moyes probably could have used his squad an awful lot more than what he has done.
Yeah. We'll go into that more.
He probably could have. But anyway, Gary, Rice.
Unreal. Well, look, he was just outstanding. Pure
every fucking game.
A pure captain's performance. And the last few games, we've been on the losing side, but he has been simply outstanding, And I can't praise him enough for what he did the other night, especially calling.
Hang on. Liverpool have equalised.
Hey, come on, you Scousers.
That's it. It was about 10 minutes ago, but I forgot to update you. Sorry.
Oh, sorry.
Cheers, John. Thanks, John.
Diaz scored another one that we could have got in January, apparently.
Yeah, lovely.
Yeah.
Yeah, like he turned Liverpool down for us.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh no.
Exactly.
Listen, I'm gonna give Rice a 9.
Yeah. That's fine. I would have virtually gone 10 for him, but 9's fine. I think it was a brilliant performance. He was by far and away the best player on the pitch again. I think
Nigel mentioned last week on his More Than Just a podcast. He mentioned that he sat in different seats and got to see how good Rice is up close and personal for the first time. And what did you say about him, Nigel?
Oh yeah, I just in the first leg specifically. You just see the quality of the way he plays. I sit right towards the back in the corner, and to sit on the halfway line in the middle of the East stand, and Declan, he what I said was he ran at half pace, but had the control of twice the speed of everybody else.
Because he's got that. He's intelligent,
his ball play and his intelligence on the ball and the way he glides across the pitch. He doesn't seem to sprint. He just seems to glide across the pitch. But he can do it with the ball. But he's got the turn, so he can turn someone and beat them,
No,
and then
And
accelerate.
how much respect did the opposition give him as well? They don't like to go into him, do they? Do you know what I mean?
You know what? Not to listen. I'm not comparing him to Bobby Moore. You know, who else used to glide across the pitch and look like
Trevor
they weren't
Brooking.
trying?
Trevor
Brooking, Bobby Moore. Them sort of players. Like
Rio,
for me,
yeah.
when a player's that good, it almost looks like it's not hard for them to be that good. It looks effortless. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know, and for me, like Ballon d'Orson here, he's brought up the fact that Rice is talking a lot on the pitch and things like that. I love that side of his game there. I love, you know, when he squared up to Eddie Nketiah last week.
Yeah. Well, but Joe, he's getting angry now, though, John, isn't he? I think he wanted more from this season. I think, and I think he's showing frustration. He's showing frustration.
Nick, you're taking it as frustration. I'm taking it as passion. It depends how you look at it. To me, he's taking on more of a captain's responsibility week in, week out, and that is another part of it. You can take it with being frustrated at not getting or winning a trophy or whatever you want to say, but to me, I just think it's another part of what's that noise? You've got feedback. To me, it's just another part of being a captain.
Yeah, win or lose, he's taking it personally, right? That is what he's doing.
Yeah,
and I love to see that. And I think, you know, when he said I'll be back the other night, and when you look at him, look, people kiss badges all the time and stuff like that, but I genuinely believe he's going to be here next season, and he's going to spend a season as the true club captain.
Can I just say I gave him an 8?
Oh, Nige.
No.
But he was my man of the match.
Before we move on though, Nige, what I think it was Johnny mentioned it a long time ago now, and he mentioned it on one of the shows, and Ben was watching, my son, and he said about watching Rice, just watching him in a game, and Ben did that when I took him over Upton Park. And do you know where he's most impressive is off the ball, when he's just constantly organising and talking and shouting the whole. He doesn't switch off. He never switches off. He's an amazing player. He's an amazing player.
That's why he never loses the ball, and that's why he always in space, because he just checks his shoulder constantly. He knows where the players are around him, both the opposition and his teammates, at all times, because he's constantly looking shoulder. And like Nigel says, and like you've said about your boy there, if you just had a player cam on him like they used to do on Sky Sports, it would be phenomenal just to watch him. You know, he's amazing. Just watching him just amazes me. It really does.
Right. Anyway, that's enough of Rice. He was amazing, as he always is. Nigel Bowen.
7 for me.
You go 7. Yeah, I thought. I don't think he got forward as much as. It wasn't his fault. I don't think he got forward nearly as much as what he needed to. He needed to be closer.
No, but
to Antonio.
The harsh thing about that is that our game plan was destroyed.
It was. I know.
On 13 minutes. So, you know, everything. You know, I think obviously if we'd have kept. You know, if we'd have had Lanzini on the pitch and Creswell on the pitch, we'd have seen a totally different West Ham United.
Yeah, I mean,
agreed.
What are they saying in the chat, John?
No, they're giving him 6. They're giving him 6 and 7s. But this is what I said a minute ago when we were trying to score certain players. It's difficult to score because the game plan goes out the window, and players have to adjust, and players have to be slightly different player. You know, especially people that ain't Declan Rice, he can adapt to anything. It's easy. But when we lose someone so early on, it will change the game plan, you know.
I look at your scoring, I go, so I've gone 7. So now I look at yours and goes above average, and then you think, did Bowen have an above average game?
No,
for Bowen?
No, he didn't.
No. But then again, did he have a 6 out? But this is the thing. But did he have a 6 out of 10 game? And I'm thinking, well, no, he didn't.
Well, there's a lot of people that are saying that he did. So I don't know whether we're going to have to adjust this, because by Bowen's high standards,
I would have gone 6 personally.
But is it a player's fault that he sets high standards?
No, we're judging it on how he played on Thursday. It doesn't matter,
you're judging it against his standards, are you? And that's what I'm saying. See, Bowen Bowen
No, I
sets
think
a
I'm
high
judging it.
standard.
I'm judging it against his contribution
And what-
in
and
that
what he-
game. and
what he
I don't
offered.
think I
What he
don't think
offered.
he contributed much. I know it was different. I know the system changed. I know we went 1-0 down, but I don't think he did much.
But
So
that's what
gonna
I'm
give him
saying.
a
See,
6.
you're judging him against the way he normally plays, but you got to throw that out the window because he had to play differently.
Right.
Yeah,
So,
but-
I know.
With my scoring, he
I
had a
know.
7 out of 10 game. But
You've
if
lost
you
it.
go by your scoring,
You've lost.
he had
You've
to
lost.
be up average. Well, average at the moment is he's getting 2 shots on target on average and scoring
You've
1.
lost.
Well, we
You've
was
lost the
below
customer.
average.
You've lost the customer, Nigel.
Right, so anyway, look, so Nigel's gone 7. Gary, what are you going for? You going 6?
I would go 6 for Bowen.
John?
I would go 6. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll probably go with that. And it looks like the chat have gone with that as well. There's been a couple of 7s. Black Country and Matt Crawley have gone 7, but and Paul Evans and WHE 58, but the rest of them they're all 6s. So yeah, look, he didn't have a bad game, but I don't think he affected the game like he normally does. But Nigel's right. Nigel is right. Yeah.
Just repeat that constantly.
Yeah. Right. Okay. John, not really much to score here, to be honest. We'll go to Gary. John's gone. Lanzini. Oh no, he's back. John Lanzini.
I listen. I feel so sorry for the guy.
So do I.
I mean,
He should have come off.
Yeah, look, anyone would have get pulled off early because of what Cresswell did is bad. But being our most technically gifted player, which I think he probably is, and we spoke before we came on, I think, didn't we, Nigel, about, did Moyes have to take him out of the game? Could he have kept the personnel on the pitch and reshaped it somewhat? And I think there's an argument, it's easy to be said in hindsight, but I think there's an argument that can be said that, they probably could have, because we ain't going to get many. Look, it was going to be a tough ask anyway, but when you take out Cresswell, you get a man sent off, it's even tougher. So the small opportunities or the few opportunities you do get, you want someone who's on there who's gifted, and he's one of our most gifted players. So to take him off, listen, it was a hard decision from Moyes to take, I'm sure. But
hold on. What has Mandy said here? Lanzini, for the way he ran off.
He sprinted. He did get off quick.
Oh, he got off double quick, did he?
I think
she
so.
was
Yeah.
She was looking at his fires.
Yeah.
I'll give him a 6 because.
Yeah. Well, he didn't have time, did he? He didn't have time to affect the game.
Can't get any more than a 6 in my eyes.
No. So Bowen gets the same as Lanzini.
Yeah, because I think Bowen affected the game about as much as Lanzini.
You scored him on the time they were on the pitch. He was on the pitch for 19 minutes, wasn't he? And he did a 6 for 19 minutes.
No, I'm not disputing he did a 6, but then I just don't see it.
We should have this algorithm that based on the number of minutes they spend on the pitch and stuff like that, we'll feed it into the algorithm.
I'm giving him a 6 because I felt sorry for him because he was hauled off in the biggest game of his career.
But you don't feel sorry. You don't think Bowen was deserving of a 7 then?
I don't.
Is Bowen played 90 minutes?
Listen, I love Bowen. I love Bowen.
Lanzini, who played 16, 17, and
he did well for he did well for 16, 17, and Bowen did
Didn't Bowen do well for 16 and 17 minutes?
Yeah, but they both got a 6 out of 10.
Nick,
yeah.
Nick, you haven't signed up. You haven't signed up for this tour with Nigel, have we? We haven't signed up officially.
Right, Gary, go to Fornells. Pablo Fornells. Next.
Pablo Fornells.
I thought he was one of the better ones, to be honest.
Really? Yeah.
All right. Yeah.
I thought he slipped into a defensive mode after 17, 18 minutes. I don't think he did much in the advanced areas of the pitch. I don't know if you can prove me wrong with that. Did he?
But I think he's passing. His forward passing was much better.
I didn't notice any though. Did you?
No, I think he was energetic. He's a wasp.
I think he was. If you're looking at Bowen and Fornells, I think for me, I would have said Fornells had a slightly better game out of the two of them.
I would agree with that. I would reluctantly agree with that. So yeah, on that basis, it would be a 7.
Yeah. What would you say, John?
I would have said a 6. I thought he was just average. I don't think he was any particularly better than Bowen. I know we're not judging on recent games and that, but I think the last few games he's been a little bit off the boil for me.
You're right.
Yes.
And I think these set pieces, when he's on corner duty, he don't beat the first man. It's becoming quite.
That's a good point. That is a good point. He's let us down a lot of times on corners, very poor corners, and he's got the talent to take a good set piece, hasn't he?
For me, I'd have to give him a 6. He was average. That's for me 6. But
okay, Nigel, what would you say? 6 or 7?
7.
You go 7.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
But I'm over generous, aren't I?
That's fine.
Get out of here, you big baby. What's sticking on me?
All right. Okay. And we go to Nigel for Antonio.
I gave him a 7 and all. Work rate.
I think he was on a hiding to nothing, wasn't he? Yeah. Really.
He was, but I don't know why he was the only one who kept slipping over during the game constantly. I don't know what that was about.
That does irritate me. I will say that.
No, but he was slipping over every time. Not every time. I'd say 75% of the time he ran for the ball or tried to close down the defender, he fell over. I was getting really angry. I was like, change your boots, for God's sake.
It finished 1-1. It finished 1-1 Liverpool against Spurs, which leaves Liverpool and Man City on 83 points apiece, with Liverpool on a 1 better goal difference than City.
Farmers League, mate. I don't want to win that.
When we turn City over next week, that's going to bring Liverpool back into it. Anyway, carry on.
Good point.
Okay, so you'd have gone 7 for Antonio, Nige.
Yes.
Right, John.
Yeah, I was very disappointed Thursday, but I know he worked very hard and he was very isolated, and that I would have said high 6s. But I'll go for 7. I'm happy with that. But
is the high 6 not a 7?
No, we don't. No.
6.
We don't round up. We don't round up.
He's had a curry and a couple of cobras, and he's fucking turned into like. You know what I mean?
I did have a couple of cobras actually.
Who goes for a curry and don't have a couple of cobras?
Well, my mate had kingfishers, so
he's not a mate anymore.
Evil war, isn't it? Then again, he's a Spurs fan.
So. Right, so Gary, you happy with that with a 7?
Yes.
Yeah. Right. Okay. Let's mark the subs quickly. We'll particularly.
There is one missing sub. Can I just point that out?
Oh Christ! Who's a miss? Who have I missed?
The one that played the longest.
Johnson.
Yeah, of course. Right. I'll get him on. Right. Go on. Talk about Ben Rama. Talk about Ben Rama. John.
He did all right. He tried again. He was trying to be forward thinking. He was trying, but trying's the word with him, isn't it? Listen, I'd say, I don't know. I'd say 5 or 6, maybe a 5. I don't know. He just frustrates me. I'm not trying to blame him for anything. He didn't cost us the game. It was nothing to do with him, No. But I just think, I don't know what it is with him, mate. I just think he's lost a lot of confidence. Massively gone. He looks a little bit shot to pieces at times as well. But he didn't have a lot of time. Didn't have a lot of time on the pitch.
Yeah.
Really. I'd say 5.
I don't think any of the subs that we made helped us, did they? Really?
No.
In any way?
No, I thought they were all disappointing, to be honest. Very average.
It was, yeah. So did you say 5, John?
I'm sorry to say I'd say 5. Yeah, I know it sounds probably harsh, but
where's Epic Ash Time? I'd give him a 9.
I know. You don't watch us no more. Last week, right? Gary.
Yeah, I'll go with that 6.
You go over 6. All right, that's fine. Nigel, what would you go with for Benny?
I gave him a 6.
All right. There's a lot of people saying 5s. There's a 7. There's 6s. We'll go with the average.
You know what? You come on the pitch, 17 minutes to go plus injury time. You're 1-0 down. The team's trying not to concede another one whilst trying to get forward. The forward play is, they're defending well. They're falling over every 2 minutes. Listen, you needed a fucking miracle from Ben Rama, didn't you?
Yeah. We're not scapegoating him, by the way.
No.
Which I don't think he did much.
No, he didn't. It was average.
Okay, all right, that's fine. Right, well, let's mark. I mean, Yarmo, I'm just going to give him the same because he did nothing when he came on, really.
Yeah,
we had 5 minutes.
Yeah, we'll talk about him. That's fine. So Johnson is he's the one who was on the longest. Well done, Nige. What would you who have been Gary? Tell us about Johnson.
Well, look, he got caught within a minute of coming on, but I can't blame someone for getting caught cold a minute after coming on. It was he probably didn't even have time to warm up or anything.
Yeah,
he's got on the pitch, and Frankfurt did. You've only got to admire them for what they did. They got after him straight away, played that ball between him and Zuma, cross, goal. From that point on, he was solid.
That's what Garino just said. Exactly that. I agree with him. Yeah.
So I give him a 6 or a 7, probably.
Yeah. I don't think if you're giving Soufal a 7, does Johnson deserve less than Soufal?
Don't think so, really. I thought he did well. For I don't blame him for that first. When he's stone cold, I don't blame him for that.
No, Nigel, what about you?
Listen, for me, 6, and specifically, he came on. He did get caught out for the goal. He he's got caught cold and everything. I don't think he was, outstanding. He weren't really getting forward or supporting or noticeably. He was pegged back by Frankfurt's defender. And plus, if you're giving Bowen a 6, I'm sorry, you can't give Johnson a 7 because Johnson didn't do anything.
No, that's right. Okay.
I think, and Andy said it in the chat, Nick. I think Soufal was better than Johnson, and Soufal was better than Johnson.
Yeah. Okay. So a 6 is fair then.
Soufal's a big game player. I said it in that last away to Leon. He's a big game player.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, that dog shit derby next Thursday with Arsenal on top. Now that's going to be interesting, that isn't it?
Yeah.
On Thursday.
The
old dog shit derby.
Nigel, your scoring is doing better. Sign me up for the tour again.
There you go.
Right, okay. So Johnson's getting a 6, isn't he?
An officer and a gentleman there, Lawrence.
Okay, right. David Moyes, John.
Again, it's very difficult, isn't it? Because his whole game plan went out the window very early on, right? He made what he thought was the right decision, bringing Johnson on straight away and changing the personnel that he hoped would win us the game. And I just think, Nigel sort of reiterated to some degree what I thought. I thought he made that decision to bring Johnson on very quickly, maybe too quickly. He wasn't great again with his chasing of the game. He could have been a bit more proactive. I think you said it earlier again, Nigel. It's very true. It don't matter if we lost that game 1-0 or 3-0. I sort of understand his theory of let's keep it tight, try and nick one, and then go for the jugular. But the problem is it was a mountain to climb, and he should have been a little bit more proactive. Maybe he should have been a little bit more dynamic. Take the risks. Who cares? It happened. We would have still sang. We lost 4-0 in the FA Cup semi-final to Forest and still outsang them. Yep. So we wouldn't have been disheartened. We would have took it for what it was, down to 10 men, same as we was with Tony Gow, but we still tried our best in that game. So for me, I'm sorry to say, I'd probably have to score him a 5.
I think quite low for this one for me, Moyes. I don't think he did. He didn't do enough for me in this game.
I agree with what John just said. Right, I think he picked the right team. He picked the right team.
Yeah.
He picked the right approach. For 17 minutes, we were at their throats. We were pushing up on them. They didn't know where to go. We looked positive. They looked negative. They looked like they were all over the place. His game plan was working.
I will say though, Gary, we hadn't had a single shot on goal.
No. But for the first 17 minutes in a game, right? Because we were discussing it the other day, Nick. We were thinking we're getting 0-0 at half time, then we can smash and grab, right? So I was thinking 17 minutes, we look good, we look strong, and then fucking shit is a fan. It all falls to pieces. And then from that point on, the decisions that Moyes made are called into question. So I think bringing Johnson on, it's probably the right decision for Moyes because Moyes, he does that. But I'm now in two minds after hearing what Nigel said earlier. I think that was probably the right approach, was to bring Johnson on, settle it down, and then in the last 15, 20 minutes, go for a smash and grab. But unfortunately, even bringing Johnson on backfired on him immediately. So that was his plan A and his plan B out the window. And so for that, I feel sorry for Moyes a little bit because he's like operating with one out. What fucking hell?
I feel like Garino. Moyes for same old formation, too predictable for the opposition. Sometimes you've got to take risks and tweak things and bring some subs on when they can still influence a match. And
the initial formation was the right. No, the initial formation was the right formation. There was nothing wrong with that formation.
It is the same old formation, though, isn't it?
Yeah, I know it is, but it's our best formation with our best players, and we did well for 17 minutes, and then it all fell to pieces. So for me, I'll tell you what, for lack of creativity and looking at the scoring system and the way this works, I would give him a 5 or a 6. I'd probably go for a 5, bearing in mind there was no effort to win the game at the end. You know what I mean? Just be bold and cash all your chips in and just go for it. He didn't do that. And I think in a semi-final, when you're going to get knocked out anyway, that's a cardinal sin. So I'll give him a 5.
Okay, right, that's fine. Nigel. Go on. Have you say on Moyes? Go on.
No, I'm Captain Generous, and I'm giving him a 6. But as an average, but the people going, the same 13 players, the same formation. He does change the formation. We have played 3 at the back at times, and people complained when they had Masuaku out or wide left. There's always a complaint to be had. The same formation, the same 13 players that have took us to the semi-final of a cup competition. We've got to sit in 7th with a chance of 6 in the league, which frankly, if we did get 6, West Ham had never done 2 top 6 finishes in a row together. Yeah. So possibly
Nigel.
You can't
forget what he's done. No, just talk about this game. We're marking him on this game.
People are marking him and saying comments about what he's done throughout the season. Yeah, and then marking him as a 4, where actually these same 13 players, and by doing that, has been very successful for this club. I get it, and I fully appreciate it could have been better. But I come from let's appreciate, bearing in mind, what have I been going West Ham now since '77? So that's like 45 years, and I've probably had 40 years of dog shit. I think I would not be wrong there, Gal. Yeah,
no, you're absolutely right. I've been going as long as you, and I agree with you. Yeah.
Nigel, you ain't got to have been going that long to appreciate that we've been dog shit for a long time.
That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is that yes, I understand the season could have been better, but I won't let that blind me the appreciation that I will have for these players and for that man and for what he's done. And
if anything,
I think that was an average performance for him. If I'm looking at your scoring, I think that's an average performance. He put out the same players like he does averagely. Yeah. He made the same substitutions like he does averagely.
Yeah.
And it affected the game like it does averagely. So actually,
I agree with you. When we look back in a couple of weeks' time, when we look back at the performance over a season and what he's done for this season, look, it ain't going to be a 5 or a 6.
No,
right.
The thing is, Nigel's right to some degree, in so much as we're all frustrated to some degree. We'll talk about it later, but we're all frustrated with January. We're all frustrated with the lack of depth. We're not all
frustrated with January.
No. Sorry, not frustrated. No, listen. Wrong word. No, but Nigel, even you and me said in January we were surprised he didn't get anyone, right?
No, but that's where I come from. I fully understand where people go. This season could have been better.
Yeah. Of course, but I agree with you in so much as maybe we should appreciate the job he's done is even better than we thought because he's done it with so few players.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh,
and those few players of listen,
I know he's done very well with the tools that he's got, but he should have had more tools.
I get that.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, but
We
I
should
mean,
have had more tools.
Nick, if you open my toolbox, yeah, you'll find a meter that's 20 my fluke meter that's 20 years
I bet you got Nigel. Nigel, tell me something. Have you got a wire coat hanger in your toolbox?
Yeah, actually, I was showing the boys how to fly wire for a magnet the other day, and I pulled my hook out. And not only have I got one, Nick, I've got 3.
There you go. All taped together. All taped together. Yeah.
Should I go through some of the comments in the chat quickly? There's quite a few comments.
Yeah, go on. Let's do it.
Right, we'll fly through some of these quickly, right? Where are we? Garino. Johnson should have started. Cresswell, in my opinion, has been poor since he scored that free kick, but he always gets picked. Oh, look, Epic Ash time is in. We will be
Hello,
6.
Epic.
We will be 6 if we don't shit the bed again.
Yeah.
Sorry, Epic Cash Time has turned up after we scored Ben Rama. I apologise, Epic.
Yeah,
sorry,
mate.
He never threw the kitchen sink late on. Moyes is. This is a bit of a Moyes' gameplay is not effective with our lack of depth. Johnson struggled in the first leg, and Freddie had a decent game against Arsenal. Yeah, he did.
I'll be honest with you. I think Fredericks would have been an asset in that game. He would have given us pace.
Yeah, but defensively, I'm not so sure. This is the Leeds disabled team. Hi, ladies and gentlemen. Hope you're all well. Your season is far from over, and you've had a wonderful campaign in Europe, and you will go again. Thanks for that.
We'll have a minute's silence if Leeds go down for you.
They won't go down.
I don't think
they'll go down. Garino says we needed an extra body in midfield and do some research on the Oppo. We seem to have learned nothing from the first match. Yeah, and that's taking Lanzini off. Was that extra body?
No, I know, but I think it is right though. I think when you look at we've been crediting the Frankfurt manager for doing his homework on us.
I'm sure we did the homework. I'm sure we did homework.
No, yeah, I know, but it's implementing the right. Look. It weren't Moyes' best game as a game. No. I don't think.
No.
You know? And I think he knew that, and I think that's why he had frustrations. I think that's why he was pissed off.
We need to get rid of all the geriatric players in the summer, as they'll only be worse going forward. But Moyes is too sentimental to do that. I hope he's not referring to Noble. I really hope he's not referring to Noble.
No, he's gone in the summer anyway, hasn't he?
I know, what a shame. I'll be.
You know what? We only got geriatric. We've only got Jerry 2 goals because nobody really gets hat tricks for West Ham at the moment. Not even Jerry.
But Londi Orson, agree with you, Shedman. Moyes has been fantastic, but he's also missed out on a window of opportunity. Pardon the pun.
Very true. That is very true. It's very true.
Is that you typing that, Nick? That sounds like sort of.
No, but it is true.
Marking him on the Frankfurt match, we just went to the same, expecting a different result. We did not learn anything from the first leg. Yeah, but the first leg, like as much as the early red card for Cresswell changed the game plan, so did the early goal for Frankfurt. Both those moments were so early on, they changed the game plan to some degree, I think,
Yeah.
Who's this? Oh, bloody hell. Who's this, Nigel? Is this like someone related to you? This geezer here, look. Nigel, you seem very entertaining. What's your pot? Get him off.
Only seen. Dear, I must try harder.
More than just a podcast. Subscribe to it now.
Moyes. I think this is a little bit of an harsh one, if I'm honest. Let's get this up. I blame Moyes. 2 quarterfinals, 1 semi-final, and 7th, possibly. I hope he's being sarcastic. I think he is. I think he's being sarcastic.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Bloody Moyes bringing us all this success, bastard.
I'm gonna go and get myself a top up. Back in a minute. Go on.
Yeah.
He's getting ready for the debate on social media, isn't he?
Yeah. So what else we got?
Yeah, what Peter Jones says, we must remember, people, we have got a waifu thin squad of any quality.
That's that Kiwi player, isn't it? Waifu. He's a Maori.
He's doing the haka. This is the thing, right? The thing is true.
Yes.
I think we've said it through the season, and I'm going to say it again. Because of our overachievement, it has created over expectation, and that's the problem. People can't differentiate between overachieving and then they want this success. Someone put something on Facebook the other day, and it was very true. He said something along the lines of, with more success brings more disappointment, and that's so true.
Yeah.
But you've got to be realistic. How far we've come, I think. But unfortunately, as we'll discuss, some people don't. True, John, but he needs more players. Lack of players stopped us moving on. Yeah, I think he is being sarcastic. Look, two
know what?
10 finishes for the first time in about 25 years. So, yeah.
I think like you got to realise that David Moyes didn't expect us to be this successful this early in his reign.
Well, Redknapp had 3 top 10 finishes in 98, 99 and 2000. That's the only second time in our history we ever had 3 top 10 finishes in a row. Right. John Lowell was the first to do it in 82, 83, 84, I believe. But then I don't think we've had 2 consecutive. We definitely didn't under that scumbag, big fat, whatever his name was, the Hippodrome, as our the sham.
Sham.
But I've expunged his records from my memory bank, so I'm pretty sure that wanker didn't get us 2 top 10 finishes. Obviously, Bilic had 1, slipped back.
Yeah.
Pellegrini, I think Pellegrini got us 10th, didn't he? Then slipped back. Well,
almost got relegated.
Slipped back so bad, you know. And then Moyes' first time didn't get us, so you know, he's probably right there. So since the first time since Harry Redknapp's at the turn of the millennium, 2 top finishes in a row.
This is where epic Ash time's at. Cresswell, Antonio, and Fabianski should all go in the summer. Now, in regards to Fabianski, he's going to be second fiddle to whoever next season. Yeah. We know that he's just signed a year contract. So we use him as a squad, but the other 2 to be gone, I'm not so sure.
Well, no, I don't think they'll be gone. I think they'll be squad players. I think Cresswell will move into being a squad player. You know, he's not. He's not. Yeah, because he's getting on now.
I think we need to upgrade him. We need to upgrade at left back. I think.
Yeah. But what Gary's saying is right. The thing is, Moyes said he looked at his bench in January. Yeah, and he wanted people to go into the first team. Now, by buying first team players, he then moves the people currently in the first team onto the bench, therefore strengthens our bench. Yeah. So actually, if you move the likes of Antonio to the bench, move the likes of Creswell to the bench, they become like our sort of cut players. If look, I expect us to be at least in the Conference League. So we're going to have a lot of cup football again, hopefully next season. So hopefully he'll have learned from that. So if he can bring in forwards, he can move some of the older players back. I think we've got one of, if not the oldest average age. I think it's like 28.5 for the average age of our first team. And you do need to get that down. And
I agree.
If you look at where we went wrong when we first went into the London Stadium, you know, we brought in the likes of Zabaleta, Joe Hart. There was like 3 or 4 of them, all aged 28, 29, 30, even Arnautovic, you know, and these were players that were at the peak, but starting to go on the slide.
Yeah.
We've got to stop doing that. You need to look. Yes, we've got a team now of experienced players. We need to look at younger players that will come in and then you sort of merge the 2, allow the older ones to slide, but not just get rid of them.
Yeah,
they'll become our bench and make our bench stronger. Imagine having Antonio coming off the bench. Imagine having Creswell coming on to shore up the back for 15 minutes in the Premier League off the bench.
It'd be amazing. It'd be
That's
amazing.
what I'm saying.
Yeah,
you know,
And when you look at the Conference League, you know, because some people are poo-pooing the Conference League and saying don't do it. Well, look, any form of European football, and even if you're just interested in, even if you're only interested in future European football in the Europa League and in the Champions League, or whatever else, then take the Conference League seriously, because it all adds to our UEFA coefficient. We get points in that for winning games. You know, this time we had to go into the Europa League unseeded, right? So we could have drawn anybody.
Well, we
do you want to answer Garino's question there? What is it? Question: If we overtake Man United for 6, will that make up for any disappointment? You know, the loss in the semi-final. If we were to get 6 and qualify for Europa again, it would, wouldn't it?
I'd still be happy with the season if we finish 7th, Nick.
Oh yeah, so would I. But I think but that would be good. But I think if we were to get 6, it would be great again, wouldn't it? I think if we were to get 6,
cherry on the cake.
Yeah, I don't feel overly. I'm more frustrated than disappointed, because I just feel that in both games against Frankfurt, we didn't enable ourselves to give them the full force. No. letting in. I know I've repeated myself. Sorry if I am, but the early goal and the early sending off just changed both games.
Yeah, to be the cherry on the icing on the cake would be to finish 6th, right? But as John said, finishing 7th would be good. Any European football, right? It doesn't matter if we're playing in some fucking outpost of Finland, right? We're going to get a load of West Ham fans travelling over there for a lovely day out, right?
Look, answer this one. Look, if we get 7th, where would Moyes rate compared to previous highly rated managers? 2 years in a row, Europe.
Well, to me, and Nigel's going to have a more, how can I say, scientific answer to this. But my answer would be, he is the second best manager we've had behind Lyle in modern football, not in front of Greenwood.
Is he in front of Redknapp now? Then would you say?
I think so. I think so.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. Isn't it?
I'm not sure, Gal. To be honest, but for me, that was kind of when I sort of started falling in love with West Ham, and I think the football was brilliant, and the players that we had, it was amazing. With the players, you might say he was a bit lucky with the players that he had coming through the academy, but he brought them through.
You know what left the black mark on Redknapp's reign for me was the sheer volume of players that he signed and how many of those players succeeded and how many failed. He wasted so much money. He signed so many players.
Yeah, but it was a good generation though.
It was. I'll tell you what. There was a couple of good seasons where it was just fantastic. It was amazing. Yeah. It was amazing to watch, and we got some great memories of Di Canio, of Sinclair, of Lampard, of Rio, of all those players. And it was a golden generation. Topped off with a couple of other bits of quality. But
I mean, he took the Rio money, and bought, Shithead Kamara,
wasted it. Rigobert
song and the Salvation Army newspaper.
At that time, Nigel. At that time, do you think selling Rio Ferdinand was? Do you think that was a Redknapp decision, though, or do you think that was a club?
I think that was a club decision.
Yeah.
We've read that £18 million at the time looked a great deal. Just 18 months later, it looked foolish.
Yeah.
It was foolish.
But Redknapp wasted that money, as Nigel said. He wasted that money. He signed the ginger bloke who pissed on the bar, whoever that was. Can't remember who
Fox.
It was. Aidan Fox, yeah. He bought cratefuls of players rather than buying one or two quality players to add to the squad.
Hayden Fox.
But can we like put it in perspective though? So you're talking 18 million back then, whatever that's probably not far off the money we're talking about now for Declan Rice, by comparison. So about 100 to 150 million. If you look at two of our recent signings, 60 million on Ben Rama and Vlasic.
Yeah, well, it's two fuck ups, isn't it? Right?
That's a waste of money, and that's a lot of money, isn't it?
It's two fuck ups. I mean,
still cheaper than Aller and Anderson.
Yeah, but that Ben Rama wasn't his choice. He wanted Eze and he got Ben Rama. So I can't blame Moyes for that one, but I can blame Moyes for Vlasic. And Vlasic, I'm sure we'll cover this on another show when we're doing like the season roundup. I don't know how bad Vlasic is, but literally Vlasic is not even getting a kick now, like Krau.
Yeah. He can't rate him at all, can he?
No. Joe, what he looks like to me?
Go on.
He looks like the Vlasic that played for Everton.
Right.
He does. Yeah.
Well, I don't remember that.
That's right, Gal.
Yeah, exactly.
but Nigel, do you know what the most bizarre thing was with the Vlasic signing? He's self-confessed when he was coming in. He said his position is number 10. How on earth did we end up with Fornells, Lanzini, even Ben Rama and Vlasic? 4 number 10s. I mean, and we're always having to play one of them out on the left wing. Why have we not bought another fucking wide forward or or an out and out left winger? Why have we ended up with so many similar players?
Number 10s.
We did
but because he likes to play that way. But then again, if you say that, we've ended up with Antonio. You could argue is that playing up front. Moyes actually probably don't want strikers. He wants people that can sort of run around and drift in to space.
Yeah.
What about that stat there from Epic? I mean, that's quite shocking, actually. We're 19th in the Premier League in minutes given to youth players.
Yeah.
But it's not a surprise, is it? We know the youth players ain't played, so it's not really a surprise.
But what are your thoughts on that, considering how thin our squad is? My thoughts on that are epic. Even more reason to embrace the Conference League, because next season we're in the Conference League. We'll hopefully have a new striker. As Nigel said earlier, we'll have Antonio playing in there, Ogbonna playing in there. We'll have Cresswell playing in there. We'll have all these seasoned professionals, and then we'll have some perfect spaces for 3 or 4 bright youngsters to come through and develop their game. And that's our next pool of talent. And that's what Spurs did with Harry Kane. They bedded Harry Kane in the Europa League group stages, in the old Europa League group stages, right, when it was a bit weak. And he became the player he is today off the back of the Europa League.
But they also sent him on loan to 2 or 3 Championship clubs, so he had some loan spells. Norwich, Millwall, can't think
that's right.
He did well then, John. John, he did well then, but he started tearing it up in the Europa League.
In terms for Spurs, yes,
Yeah,
I totally agree with you. But he had a bit more experience and then come back, and then he went into the Conference League. I agree with you. But with our under 23s, they're not even getting a sniff. I had that one game in Europe at home when it was a dead rubber game, and they all played well, and we was all happy with how well they played. But to me, for how good we think they are, and Nigel said it before, everyone's an expert on Baptiste and Elise without seeing them play. Yeah. And that's the problem. You know, Nigel said when you watch some of these games, the under-23 games, and I watched a bit of one the other day on the YouTube on the highlights, and they are slow in comparison. So what are you judging it by? And if Moyes don't see people on his bench that he thinks he can put in the first team, who are experienced players, then he's not going to give the kids a go, is he?
I agree with you. But when you're looking at some of these teams, you know, we would be playing the, think of an obscure European country, right? We'll be playing the 3rd place team in that obscure European country, right? These are not good sides. And so if we've got a 3/4 strength West Ham filled with top players from this season, plus a few side players like Dawson, for instance, he'll be in there as well. We'll have an experienced squad backed off with a couple of quality youngsters.
I'm talking, I'm not poo-pooing the Conference League and them getting time. I'm talking about that specific comment about we only have given so few minutes to our players now of youth. What I'm saying is if we think he's going to give them a go when he doesn't give Crow a go, or he doesn't give anyone minutes who's on his bench now, he's not going to bring the kids in at the cold, is he? For this season,
we should say that is in Premier League games only. 19th. And the last time we finished 19th, we were actually bottom going into the last game of the season. And it was only because we gave a debut to a certain very young player who came on as a sub and played for about, I don't know, half hour, that pushed us from 20th in the youth league, because actually we'd had no minutes of youth players. And that was against Burnley, last game of the season about 5 years ago. And the player that came on and got us to 19th place was Declan Rice.
Yeah, that's right. But I mean, look. I think John's right. It is a massive step up. I've watched a few of these games, and it is slower. It's non-competitive. I think, as we just spoke about Harry Kane, and it is right. You know, he under 23s football for me is pointless. It's non-competitive. You're better off sending them out on loan.
But it's under 23s playing it, and this is the thing. There's a lot of comments saying, "Well, they're top of the table. They're top of the table. Guess who they're playing against? Other under 23s."
Exactly, I know.
Well, when they're going into the first team, they're playing against 32-year-old geezers.
What we have seen, though, what we have seen, we have had a glimpse of a couple of them, though, like in the cup competitions. Like we've seen Ashby, we've seen Chester's, and you know what? And Longello had that game. They do look like. Do you know what? What would be better? Do you know when we've had these Thursday, Sunday games, and you can visibly see we saw it against Spurs, we saw it against Brentford, where we played the same teams that had played on a Thursday now, and they've got to play, and they're playing on a Sunday, and they've got Thursday on their mind again. I think we proved when we rotated the players against Chelsea, we would have been better off rotating players, because you would have been better off rotating players. I think we could have managed it different. Is what I'm saying.
How old is Connor Coventry? How old is he?
He's 21, 22, isn't he?
Right, so he's an under 23 player.
He's a good player. He's a good player.
Right.
He's a good player.
Listen to what I'm saying. Who has gained more? Connor Coventry being out on loan at MK Dons, or them playing under 23 football? That's all I would say. He's played against
but the thing is, and this is, if you look at is it Olafian? When
Yeah.
Bolton,
Dapo, yeah.
Dapo, player of the year for Bolton.
Yeah.
One Bolton's player of the year.
Oh, they love him. They love him.
Yeah. And this is my argument about why we keep sending these League One players. West Ham are creating a lot of League One players. You go and look in the Championship and League One, you'll see a lot of our ex-youth players in there. Have a look in the Premier League. How many of our ex-youth players are in the Premier League?
Good point. Yeah, good point. I come back. Yeah, I see what you mean.
Yeah,
Whereas but when you went back years ago, you'd find West Ham youth players playing for Chelsea, Liverpool.
Yeah,
you know, whoever.
I think Stanislas was one, wasn't he? When he was playing for Bournemouth, he was an ex-youth player. You know.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. If you look now, it's so how many have we made the wrong decision on?
Yeah, no, that's a good point.
Where's Grady Diagana? What about?
We were up in arms about him, weren't we, when he went?
You know, Jeremy Ngakia. You know, when he was playing right back for us, he came in as a kid, outstanding. 2 games against Liverpool, absolutely standing. The press were all over him. How many times has the press? I think he's played about 20 odd games for Watford. How many times have they said, "Oh, that Ngeki was good for Watford"?
Yeah,
no,
never happened. It's not happened. No, you know, because he was piss poor, and we all saw him for what he was. And Ngakia, he was slightly built. You know, needed to build his strength up. Real developing player.
He got too big, too quick.
He did, and he got too big for his own boots too quick as well. Yeah,
that's what I'm talking about, in his head, not on the pitch.
Do you think that our first for youth team players coming through gets us overexcited about when 1 or 2 get in and around the first team? Do you think we really want one of our own?
I think every club loves that though, John, don't they? Every club loves to see players come through from the academy.
But we're synonymous with it. The academy. All players coming through and all that, you know.
When you give yourself the title, let's remember this. This is a title that the owners of the football club bestowed upon ourselves, the Academy of Football. Then you put yourself under the pressure to bloody deliver on that. And at the end of the day, the likes of Southampton and the Chelsea have done it by just fucking buying up near enough every best youth player they can. So I discount Chelsea actually, because they buy in their young players rather than nurture them. But I will fully agree. It's disappointing. Normally, what would happen this time of year, you would be bringing in 1 or 2 of the youth players, ingraining them into the first team to see how they get on. The problem is now the Premier League is so close. You know, the money just even moving down.
Risk.
People won't take. You know, you could drop 2 spaces on goal difference. That's lost you £4 million.
Yeah, I know.
And this is the problem you get nowadays. And when you think a manager can lose his job off the back of 5 games now,
I know.
So
ruthless, isn't it?
It's very difficult.
The time is not there anymore. It's instant. It's success now. They don't want to give. And I agree with the youth don't get the chance they get. Chelsea may have all the best youth team players in the country, but half of them are out on loan. They don't even get a chance anyway. You know, some of the stories you read about some of their youth players, they've had 7 years out on loan at various clubs without getting any.
Chelsea's a factory. Chelsea's a loan factory. You've only got to look at the actual stats of how many people they've got out on loan, both in this country and in other countries throughout Europe. They've got 20, 30 players out on loan at the beginning of every season. It is a business practice for Chelsea.
But Chelsea is like a puppy farm.
Exactly. Exactly.
They get all these kids from all over Europe. And then they create them and then they farm them out, and it's a twofold thing. One, it stops their oppositions. It stops the likes of us getting hold of a good kid and whatever. So they suck it all in, hoover it all up. Chelsea's like part of Brentford ain't got a youth team.
No.
The reason why Brentford stopped doing his youth team is they got fed up of challenging the likes of the Fulhams and the Chelseas, who were the bigger clubs back then, of nicking their players. So they came up with a plan. We'll take the players that are released at 18. Instead of having a youth team, they picked up the ones that got released. Look where they are.
It's a good idea. It's a good idea. Yeah.
I know.
But yeah, what? So look, I think that's we need to move on.
That's Frankfurt done.
That's Frankfurt done.
Yeah.
2 hours 14 in.
Longer than the game lasted.
2 hours and 14 minutes.
I hope you enjoyed our Frankfurt review. It was only a little one. So what we're going to do now, Nick?
I think we'll just move on to Norwich. Just quickly, we'll have a little chat about Norwich. Won't be a full preview. What are you expecting, Nigel? What are you expecting on the weekend in terms of personnel? Do you think?
Well, look, for the first weekend ever, I'm not even watching West Ham.
You're not watching them?
So, no, but I've got a reason. Tomorrow, I'm going to be a waiter for about 100 pensioners at a VE Day team.
Right, okay.
That was stopped 2 years ago because of COVID that my wife's arranged. So from 12 o'clock, I've got to hang up about 50 Union Jacks, set up tables, and then I'm going to be a waiter for a couple of tables.
That's a good reason.
Can I ask a question though?
Yeah.
It was postponed from 2 years ago.
Well, obviously, 2 years ago because of COVID was VE Day 70 years, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Or 75 years when it was VE Day.
I misunderstood.
So
it's a very noble cause, Nigel. Well done.
Yeah.
Certainly is.
So match of the day 2 for me.
I thought you was going to say you were going to do Butler in the Buff.
No, you don't know, do you? With them old women, I'll tell you.
Young man.
Well, I suppose the question is, look, Norwich, they're relegated. Everyone else has been beating them. Look, West Ham would beat Norwich normally under normal circumstances, but we've had 2 days rest. I think the Man United defeat to Brighton might have given them a bit of a lift. I think that will have given them a lift, given them something to aim for. Do you think that they're going to be able to pick themselves up to do what we know they can do against Norwich?
Yes.
Or do you think it's going to? Do you think it's going to be plain sailing though? Do you think it's going to be?
No, I'd say there's a strange thing that if you look back in the history of Premier League, teams that get relegated,
I know.
Suddenly,
Pressure's off.
Go out there, play with your freedom, and if something happens, because they're already down, they'll pick up a couple of wins.
Also, Nigel, there's a lot of players here in the shop window now, aren't there?
Well, yeah.
For Norwich there will be.
No, that's what I'm saying. I mean, Norwich. Yeah. Something's got to change at Norwich, and they're the most promoted team into the Premier League. Off the back of that, they're the most relegated team from the Premier League. You know,
we might be able to find a new striker at Norwich. I'm not sure we couldn't get from Norwich as a striker.
No, I don't think that Pukey's.
Pukey. It's Pokey, not Pukey.
Well,
So, do you think we're going to see the same lineup that we saw against that? Do you think he'll do that?
Go strongest again.
But what I'm saying is, as we saw against, we know we're going to be tired. So it is our strongest lineup, but is it the strongest lineup when they're all fatigued a couple of days after football?
Yeah, but you know what the good news is?
The
good news is?
Go on.
Well, Creswell had a bit of a rest.
Yeah,
I think Noble will be in the team on Sunday.
I hope so. I'd like to see Noble in the middle.
I think Suchek will be dropped.
We've got to save him for Sunday, haven't we?
Yeah, we've got to save him for City. We don't want him to get injured.
Give him a tissue, for Christ's sake, will you, people? Dear.
I'll tell you what, Nigel. He just bought one of Noble's boats for 450 quid.
I know. I'll tell you what. I'll tell you what. Where's that? I've got 2 of Antonio's here. You could have had them for like a couple of hundred, mate.
It was for charity.
Charity.
I don't think it was for charity, actually. It was for charity. Yeah, it was. It was for charity. Yeah.
Moving on.
Brilliant. Yeah,
moving on swiftly. Yeah.
Do you know what that tells you? Yeah.
Drop kick incoming.
Just try not to drink so much. Yeah, when you got a wallet like that. Yeah. You didn't see me.
Anyway, it was
you didn't see me. You didn't see me putting my hand up, did you?
Nick kept nudging me, going, "Go on, you love him. Go on."
Knock him out the park. Knock him out the park. What do you mean they're bidding 400? Go on, John. Knock them out the park.
Yeah, we
Len
can
just
beat
wants
Norwich.
to know when you're going to bid that much for one of his paintings.
Yeah.
when he comes on here.
Yeah.
That's it.
Oh,
I've
it's a
said to
good
him-
point, John.
that's-
Well
I've-
made.
Oh dear.
Good
Oh,
point.
I've
Well
asked him
made.
numerous times. I've asked him numerous times.
Right. So you're all thinking we've got to go with what is our strongest lineup, even though you think they're going to be fatigued. They are
Mentally as well. yeah.
mentally and physically fatigued. I think they are.
But will they be angry and raring to
I
go?
don't know.
I knew he'd be watching.
Yeah, I knew he'd be watching because he knows I'm on. We're all gonna. Oh, by the way, on Noble's last game against Man City at home, we're all going to meet up early somewhere and have a beer before and after, all right? Because
Okay.
even
We're gonna
Nigel's going to wear his Noble T-shirt and everything.
Oh, no, so what is this? We're all going to meet up, but only two of us turn up, or is this?
No, I said
we're all going to meet up, and
I
we
said-
all meet
I said-
up.
Yeah. Did you notice that, Nigel? Did you notice that?
I wasn't coming.
Where is everyone?
Was the Black Lion? Was it empty? Was there no one in there?
No,
Well, no, there was
in there.
people inside. There were people inside, but we were out in the garden, and
Right,
basically we had the whole garden to ourselves, 5 of us.
Okay.
No, a couple of extras come out, didn't they?
Oh, they did, didn't
I don't know where
yeah,
Danny's got this effervescent personality, and he sort of hooked a couple out of the bar, and they came out with him. So,
Danny Martinez.
I was just Gary.
You know the one that you were supposed to meet at the Black Lion with Nick?
No,
Yeah,
I said
do you
for a
remember?
week in advance I was going. Nick suddenly had a meeting at 5:30. Don't start blaming me.
Nick was making excuses early doors from about 4 o'clock.
All right, moving on.
Yeah, come on.
Moving on. So we're gonna beat Norwich. We're gonna beat. There isn't.
Yes.
There's nothing to review with Norwich. You know, look, they are shit. They're a joke. But they're relegated now, as Nigel said. This can be dangerous. It can be a dangerous time to play teams.
Can be dangerous, but we are. If we put our best side out, I want those boys to be angry after what happened to them the other night, and I want them to go out and put Norwich to the sword. No mercy. Put them to bed.
Look, Ballon d'Or. We've lost every game after knockout stages in Europe. He's got to use the squad more.
It's killing me. It's killing me.
He's got to.
Yeah.
He's got to. You know, I think Masuaku on the left. I know. We haven't got many options, have we? We haven't got many options. But okay, all right, that's fine. What do you want to do now, Gal?
Well, score predictions for a start. What are you going for?
Go on, then. I'm going to go for. Well, I'm going to be positive because we need to win. I'm going to go for a 3-0 win against Norwich.
Wow.
I'm going for a 3-0 win.
Got 3 goals since Crystal.
I'll tell you, if it's close, we're not. I think if we don't steamroller them, then we won't fucking win. That's the trouble. I think we're going to have to put in a performance against them.
Yeah.
Go on, John.
I'm going to say 2-1 us.
Right, Nigel.
I'm going for a 2-0.
A 2-0. That's right. I'll tell you what, I'll go for the missing one, which is a 3-1.
3-1. There we go.
3-1 West Ham. So look, now what we're going to do as the final part of the show, we're only 2 hours and 23 minutes in. You know,
It's like a podcast.
All these,
That's why I said start at 8 o'clock because I knew Nigel was
all
on.
these people, we've got a very sensitive subject. Nick, come back.
Hang on, 1 minute. I'm having a smoke. Go on.
Oh,
You can
no,
smoke in there,
just
can't you?
smoke
No
in
one-
front of the audience. It's all right. Don't worry about it.
It's
Against the law, you're in your own house.
No,
There's
exactly.
75
You
people
can't-
watching. They don't
there-
care.
They don't care. Smoking on YouTube.
It's not that. It's not that.
bad.
The in-laws still don't know. They don't know I smoke. I mean, I know. I'm 42, but I'm still not allowed to smoke in front of them.
Well, you vape. You're vaping.
Nick,
You're not smoking. It's slightly different.
Your in-laws are Tottenham fans, so
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. So look, what we're going to do for the rest of the show, we're going to have a little debate. We're going to talk about West Ham attitudes on social media. Now, this week of all weeks has seen polarized views. You know, from the beginning. You know, before the game, everyone's positive, everyone's upbeat, everyone wants to do. You know, everyone wants to see West Ham win, and then the minute we lose, literally the second we lose, you saw. First of all, Twitter, you saw a mass of people, you know, personally and actually addressing at Aaron Cresswell, actually slating the guy, and that sort of stuff for me, the personal attacks on people. When Antonio has a half average game, people call him lazy, they do this, they do that, and they do it, and they address him personally, you know. So that's even worse to me, addressing him personally rather than just talking in general terms about someone,
especially on Twitter.
Yeah, on Twitter, it's embarrassing because, you know, other people are going to see these people have got blue ticks, you know, they're going to see that they're being tagged, and it's just embarrassing for the people to see Muppets come out of the woodwork and start attacking them personally. And then you see YouTube channels, and look, I take pride in this YouTube channel because what we try to do in this YouTube channel is we try to be firm but fair. We never attack people personally, right? We try not to be overreactive. You know, we try to not, oh, it's a loss, so everything's shit, or we win and everything's brilliant. We try to keep it a little bit, you know, balanced. And but that's not the same as certain other YouTube channels, which we're not going to name, you know, because that just give them publicity, who seem to wait for West Ham to fail in any way, and then they're immediately jumping on the bandwagon and launching shows slagging West Ham off, saying I told you so, right? So all that sort of stuff, that toxicity on social media, I can't stand it. I don't mind. Claret Booze was invented, really. It came about because we were sick of other Facebook groups, because it started out as a Facebook group, and which still runs. It started out as a Facebook group, and the reason we set it up was because we were tired of other Facebook groups when someone had a controversial opinion or something that was against the grain. So say we'd won, and then somebody would come on there and say, we won, but, and that person would get trolled, absolutely trolled and torn apart for having an alternative opinion, because you're not allowed an alternative opinion because we just won and everything's brilliant, right? I don't think that's healthy. And that's why we set up Claret Booze, and that's what the YouTube channel is supposed to be about. It's supposed to be a diversity of opinions. So anyway, that's my introduction. I just want to talk about it. So let's start off with someone who's of the more sensible nature. So we go to Nigel first. Nigel, what do you think of all this stuff? Go on.
It's there's different forms of social media, aren't they? Twitter gets a bad press. It's a very toxic place. But the problem with Twitter is, I tell you what, it was worse when it started because you had less characters.
Yeah.
You know, I was back in the day when I was against the move to the London Stadium. I was on at David Gold, Karen Brady, and anybody else, not the Sullivan's kids, because I didn't want to have Pop at his kids, so I left his kids alone. But anyone, hierarchy, West Ham, I was on them. I had 145 characters to get my point across, and believe me, I managed it. Yeah. To the point, Karen Brady blocked me. But anyway, Brady out. But she does that to a lot of people, so that's quite an honourable club to be in, actually, if you're blocked by Karen Brady. Even David Gold, you know, I went after David Gold on Twitter numerous times, got to stand in front of him, and when I told him something, he actually knew who I was from Twitter, and I pointed out, good, that saves the introduction, and then we had a 15-minute Twitter spat in person. But, you know, if you've got now 200 odd characters to get your point across, sometimes you can be, and it builds you into an habit of being direct. Yeah. But there's one thing in direct, you know, David Gold never blocked me because I was never abusive. And therein lies the difference. Yeah. I might have told Karen Brady to bike at your bag, but I said, you know, I sort of singled her out as different. You know, I weren't abusive to people in general. And there were people that totally disagreed with my point of view on Twitter that actually became very friendly with me. Yeah. To the point, let's take Sean Whetstone. Sean Modger's podcast. When I first met Sean, he was the chief cheerleader for the move. Yeah. Biggest twat in the room, in my opinion. Yeah. But I got to know him. Yeah. And we became friends. My point of view never changed. Yeah. Well, no, actually, it probably didn't. He's still the biggest twat in the room. But, you know, but my point of view never changed. I was dead against the move. He was pro-Muet. But we became the best of mates. And, you know, people would wonder at that. Why is that? Because you know the people.
Yeah.
There is, you know, you're going to have a broad church of opinions.
Yeah.
And as long as the way you fare with it, then I think a lot of people can, you know, forgive the mad rant. You know, look, I've got to know you boys in the past year. You know, we do it on WhatsApp. You know, we know that I think sometimes Nick's like as mad as a box of frogs. Yeah, you know, listen, I'm not going to dress it up for the people here. Look, we do this on WhatsApp, where, you know, I can't, you know, for me, what happened is Nick reminds me of 25-year-old Nigel, that would walk home from the ground and wouldn't talk to his wife, because we had lost. And then she pointed out to me that, you know, I constantly go back, no matter how crap they are, no matter how bad they are, I go back and give them my money. If West Ham were relegated down to Division 3 or 4, you would still be going, Nigel. And then it woke up to me was actually, if West Ham were playing Rotherham or if West Ham were playing Liverpool, it didn't really matter.
That's right.
Actually, I would still be there. I'd still be supporting them. So actually, if they lose, and literally, I just changed. It was like, now a defeat, I'd walk out and go, hey ho, when's the next game? Everybody's different. And the thing I'd say with Nick's rants is Nick wants West Ham to progress. People want West Ham to progress. And the only thing I would say is, when do you stop with that progression? When is that progression enough? Is it when we get to the top? You know, we've all got our own bars, you know, and perhaps my bar set very low. I expect nothing from them. And what I'd say is, though, is that the highs are high and the lows, they're not too bad. You know, I don't get depressed. Relegation for me actually is an occupational hazard of supporting West Ham. And that is the way I look at it. And perhaps it helps they were relegated the first season I started watching them. I don't know.
Yeah, but
that might be true.
But,
so go on,
but
Nick.
I think for me generally, and I probably speak for a lot of people. I think you'll all agree. Yeah, fair enough. I can be a bit of a hothead. I do. I self-admit. I will admit, and I know that. You know, I was in a Facebook group for years, which is one of the reasons why I started Claret and Booze, was because essentially I won't name what it was, but I was very active on there, and in the end we sort of fell out. And for me, I don't know. I kind of I take things too personally with West Ham. I always have done. And what happens is I get so wound up. And I would say when I do react, and when I have posted in the past, in a strange way, when I do that, when I have done that, it's venting. It kind of helps me release that pressure. I feel better. But then the next day, I will say, you know, 90% of the time, I do sometimes. You look back at what you posted and you go, "Oh, for fuck's sake, what have you, what have you posted that for?" And that therein. But the thing is, in a sense, what it was doing was, though, it does serve a purpose. And I know people get frustrated with reading negative shit and stuff like that. But I'm in a situation whereby I'm living out now. I sort of moved away from the old area. My only real sort of connection with West Ham fans when I'm watching a game now, if I'm not at the game, is through social media. So you're getting my knee-jerk reactions. You're getting my how I would be reacting at the game. That's kind of what you get. And I think it gets muddied up, because what you said is exactly right, Gary. There are people out there who are just fucking horrible. There are people out there that are just horrible. That are just sort of they're nasty. They're toxic, and they're almost happy. I mean, that you can see visibly with some of the people you're talking about. They almost look happy when we've done something when it's going
Agree.
I'm not. I'm devastated. I'll get quite upset with it because I love the club. And I think there is a difference, and I don't know. I've never been that type of person. After stuff that I read, when I'm on Twitter, I don't really get involved with Twitter that much. I don't, because I don't feel, you know, I don't want to get involved in public spats. I feel safer in closed groups. Plus, as Nigel said, I would never go direct to a player. I would never ever tag someone in and go to them directly. I would never ever do that. You know, who am I to do that? But I can have an opinion on someone, and I think it's safe to do that in a Facebook, for instance, in a closed space where you're just with West Ham fans. It's a closed group. You're not directly affecting that person, but you're blowing off steam. And like I say, I don't see personally. I don't see the problem with it. but I also see the other side of it where I think people get fucked off, where all they're reading all day long is like with the Cresswell thing. That annoys me because it's personal. And you have a look through Twitter and you think, Jesus Christ, it's like a manhunt. You know,
that's exactly what it is.
The pitchforks are out. And I think what happens is then people just get sick of negativity in general and everyone gets tired with the same brush. And then, you know, you might have somebody like me or whoever else who is just basically giving their honest, you know, reaction, heartfelt reaction to a game. Whether it's right or wrong, it's heartfelt. We've all got that connection with the club. And I think we all kind of bear the brunt of it because you do get some people that just go, oh, fuck, I can't have this. You're being negative, you're this, that, the other. But I think it is probably because of all the other stuff as well. That probably is the reason.
Yeah,
go on, John.
Yeah. So for me, I never was a big person on social media until I started doing this with you two, right?
No.
And I have been absolutely shocked at what I see at the lengths some people go to be.
Yeah.
Is it sometimes I think, people doing it to be controversial because I sort of sit there and think.
But you know that's never me though, John. I'm never doing it for effect or anything like that.
I'm not aiming that at you. Listen, I've known you 30 years.
Yeah.
I know what you're like. You've never been any different, right? However, you're right. Because I'm now exposed to social media on a mass scale, I probably overreact to what you say. Because in the past, I would have accepted it. Oh, that's just Nick. But now, because I see the amount of negativity, you become part of that chain of negativity. And I'm like, what's he? I get angry with you, but really I'm angry with what I'm seeing elsewhere. And I get that. But the problem with the social media thing that I see is that I think certain people need to be a bit more analyze what they're saying before. Don't knee jerk on there and type something in a frantic way on social media, on Twitter. In terms of other YouTube channels, look, everyone's entitled to work or say what they want to say. But not just YouTube channels, but Twitter and that. But when I saw instantaneously people atting Aaron Cresswell and saying he should never wear the shirt again, for example, after something that he will feel lower than anyone about, he didn't do a Paul Ince. He didn't wear a Man United shirt before he left the club. I understand that comment to Paul Ince to some extent. But Aaron Cresswell made a genuine mistake, right? Okay, he made another one against Leon. But the social media element of thing is all new to me, right? And now I'm overly exposed to it. And it really upsets me how people who are West Ham fans can be anything else but happy generally with what's been happening in the last couple of years. And I do struggle to understand. To me, it's almost like the FIFA generation, I call it, where people expect us to go out and buy this one, that one, this one, take that one, that one, that one. It's not as easy as that. This is a building process.
But again, that's not me as well. I'm not But what I'm saying is, I think there are so many sort of genuine people out there, genuine fans, because West Ham fans, I've said it before, West Ham fans, it's not a new generation. It isn't because social media has given people a lot more voices. West Ham, Nigel will confirm this. I can remember it for as long as I know. You go over West Ham, all you hear is pissing and moaning in the stands. It's part of the West Ham thing. We're a miserable bunch generally. It may be because, like you said, Nigel, it's been mostly crap. Growing up being a West Ham fan, we've had hard times. But I think we are a working class club. I think football always was. That's why it was so popular over here. If you go back through history, it was something that working class people used to do. It was like a religion. They could go there. It was somewhere where they could switch off from their normal lives. They could blow off steam, and it was like a break from reality. And that's why. And I think it's still the same now to a degree. I love getting wrapped up in football. It does. I don't like how it affects me sometimes. I've been a lot better since I've been doing this channel, I will say. It's helped. It's, to be honest, because look, I'm talking to people about it.
It's cathartic.
Yeah, I'm talking to people about it now. When I didn't have this, all I had was Facebook, and like I say, and you get carried away, and like I say, I personally, for me, I'm not. What I don't understand is I get the ump passionately with when things go wrong at West Ham, and I just kind of and I do not as much now as I used to, like I say, because I can talk about it now and I get it out of my system that way. But do you know what? I see stuff that I disagree with all the time. But maybe because I know what it's like to feel like that, I never ever feel the urge to jump on someone. You will never ever see a post from me jumping on someone else who's moaning, saying, "Stop moaning! You don't know what you're talking about." I will never do it.
Nick,
go on, John.
Your comments are generally balanced. That's the difference.
Yeah.
To some degree. Maybe not on WhatsApp with us because we, you know what I mean.
Let me just before you carry on, John. Let me just qualify, Nick. You came on yesterday morning and you were explaining, and you were WhatsApping, and you were explaining everything that's gone wrong and everything. To be honest, in my mind, yesterday morning, I'd done my 24-hour media block out where I'd already done it. I didn't even want to talk about it. So that's where it kind of there's one of those things where I didn't even want to talk about what went wrong, what went right, or anything. So, and I think that's what I don't know. I'm second guessing you, John, but I think that's where you were at as well.
Yeah, I left the room, didn't I? But
yeah,
but it's just because. But it's not because Nick. Because if I wasn't now involved in all this social media stuff as much as I am now, I'm engulfed in it more than I've ever been in my life because I didn't give a shit about it. I was only on one Facebook group with West Ham, and I've never done anything on that. So I've always accepted Nick's opinions, but because now he's right, Nick's right. We're probably guilty. There is an element of guilt where we lump what we see as a negative comment and we put it in the bracket of the extreme negative comments. And maybe there's a certain amount of self-censoring that we should all do, and you know, maybe not get so worried about what others are saying and doing.
Well, look, this is why it filters down. So you got TalkSport and TalkSport Friday, 4:00 drive time. Andy Goldstein. Want to hear from West Ham fans? Who's to blame? And this is a big
exactly.
I don't like, and a lot of there's a lot of people out there who love to blame, and you will hear me time and time again. I've get it on the podcast from another presenter. Who's to blame? And I go, why you got to blame someone? Why can you not accept we just weren't good enough? Why is there always, it's because of this or it's because of that? Why not? Because they were better than us and we lost the game. And if you can accept that West Ham are not going to win every game, that they're not better than us. And the reason why some of us can get a bit umpy with people that want to pick holes like that is because, but Jesus Christ, if there was Twitter in 2003, if there was Twitter,
can you imagine? Can you imagine?
Like John Lyle would have been sacked in 1978. When Liverpool beat us 2-0 to relegate us.
Can you imagine? Can you imagine looking back at? Can you imagine looking back at Nigel Carr's tweets from 1985? I mean, I can't imagine looking back at my tweets from that age. There are some that must be, you know, these poor young kids these days who have started Twitter early and their whole life's been lived on social media, and they've got to look back in probably 20 years' time and see what they were tweeting when they were fucking 20 or 25 and think, twat.
For me, the shocking thing was that people, after that result on Thursday, people couldn't wait to go on some form of social media.
Yeah, but that filters that. The way I see it is sort of saying it filters down mainstream media looking for people to blame. If you look at it and then to throw it to another thing with the thing, the most successful football YouTube channel, fan YouTube channel,
Arsenal Fan TV,
right. And why is it the most successful?
Negativity.
Because
they ran.
I bet you Arsenal get 60,000 fans in that stadium. I bet you 55,000 of them can't stand Arsenal Fan TV. I know 100% of my Arsenal mates absolutely hate what they have done to the club.
But you know where that came about? You know where that came about, right? That came about because Arsenal won fucking everything, right?
Yeah.
They won everything. And suddenly Arsenal went through a period of turmoil where they were winning nothing. And all right, they were still finishing the top 10, but for Arsenal, that was crap. And these people were going apoplectic, right? Because they were not finishing in the top 4 or the top 2 or the top 1 anymore. And it was like spoiled children having their toys broken. And so people gathered around just to watch these fucking idiots let off steam. And it was genuinely, I've got to admit, they're genuinely quite entertaining in their own fucking warped way, right?
But that's the funny thing is. But the thing is, so therefore, I would argue that the West Ham fan channels that are choosing that route of doing it quite deliberately.
It's a flawed route for West Ham.
Yeah, because
and the fact is, and the one thing is the oldest West Ham fan channel for me never went down that road. They sort of. They took that away, but I think actually our fan base never went down that road.
Who's
at the end of the day, well, West Ham Fan TV. If you look at them, they stood outside with a camera. I remember when they started, they stand on the forecourt, and I used to be like fascinated. And funny enough, back then I weren't one to get in front of the camera. I was like, my mate was like, should we go on? I'm going, nah. Let's just stand and watch. Yeah. And I wouldn't stand behind them. So I'd be on camera. I'd be standing behind the geezer with the camera, just watching them, fascinated, listening to them. And it did interest me. And, you're going to get the odd moments, like I quite like that Dom. I know he gets a lot of stick.
Oh, yeah.
Brilliant.
He wears his art on his sleeve.
I'll tell you what.
To be honest,
that was fantastic, that clip.
Yeah, but that was passionate. But West Ham Fan TV, and there's a reason why they are the most successful, and that is because they are genuine West Ham fans. They've got a good balance of personalities, and you know what, there's no agenda with them. They kind of say it how they feel it, and they've got like I say, they've got a good mix of different characters that see the game in a different way, and it comes. And I think their balance is brilliant. I think that there is a reason why they are so successful. They're a brilliant channel.
They're there. They came about, Arsenal Fan TV, and this is the thing. And there's a lot of people like the shock jocks and whatever. They feel the need to go down this route, the blame game route.
Yeah.
What about this? Say something controversial. We've all seen it. Go back and look at, when you win and you're all happy, who wants to watch 4 geezers happy? Yeah. But by God, when you're pissed, people will watch 4 absolutely pissed off blokes, like ranting and raving. And if you don't support that club, you will find that funny.
Absolutely.
If you go, and if people find it entertaining, for me, you won't catch me watching anything like that.
But that's fine. But all of that's fine, right? But the language used and aimed at players.
I know. It's bad.
To me, the language used is something within itself, right? I'm 43, I've got a kid, I understand they're, going mental like that. But then you're actually personally attacking the player. That's when it really gets my gripe, because I've stood over at West Ham and watched some absolute tripe players, like Titi Kamara and all that. I've never booed them. I've never booed them on that pitch.
None of us would.
No, but why am I then going to attack Aaron Cresswell, who's had an absolute nightmare, which we all agree on, and then personally attack him and at him and all that? I just find that, as a West Ham fan, I find it unbelievable. I truly do.
Absolutely. Well, it's not unbelievable. It's disgraceful. It's fucking disgraceful. And anyone that does it, they should be ashamed of themselves. So, John, right, if you can take us through a few comments, see what the audience thinks of this, because there's been plenty of comments. I'll be back in a sec.
Mickey Smith, I'm not going to deny it, but I'm absolutely fuming with Cresswell and have been cursing him, but never on social media. But that's exactly it. We've all got our opinions, and that's you don't need to put it everywhere. People who take things to heart written on Twitter are just as bad as people who do it. Who really cares? If you love West Ham, you know the ups and downs. But that's my point. If you know the ups and downs, surely you've got to see the ups that we've had this season. We know the last month in terms of results hasn't been great, and look, me and Nick have had many discussions about what could have been and who we could have got and maybe strengthened. I get all of that. But there's a way of doing things. There's an absolutely way of doing things. Andy disagrees slightly. Live and let live. If people if people deal with stuff by venting frustration on Twitter, let them get on with it. Don't read
Yeah,
it if you
but
don't like it.
I kind of do agree with that. I don't ever feel the urge. I can scroll past. I don't feel the urge to try and correct someone. I'll never have done. I'll never have done.
No, and I haven't. But this is what we're trying to say is when it's verbally abusing one of your own, and I mean
yeah. I mean that is going too far. It is going too far. But
that's all I would say.
Yeah,
Nicky's just a reactive, passionate person, and I'm the same. Once it's said, released, it's done. You and Mickey Smith are getting on really well. And look, he loves you. Well said, Nick. Agree, Nick. Or get a room for God's sake.
I mean, Nick, do you think there'll be a point where you can just accept us
I don't
having a bad performance?
No, but I do accept a bad performance. I mean, it isn't because you seem to think that my reaction now is because I want more and I want more and I want more. I think I will always I react to a game in isolation. I react to what I see on that day. It's not because I do. And yeah, look, there have been some frustrations with this season for me. I'm not going to dress it up, and it has been absolutely amazing. Everything you say is right, and no, never, you will never hear me say Moyes out. I love David Moyes. He's definitely one of our best managers. He's great, but does he piss me off occasionally? Yes, he does. He does. It does annoy me. Doesn't mean I want him out. Doesn't mean I want him out. It just means that, and that's the thing. You can love something and be frustrated with it at the same time. And that's the thing. And that's kind of how it works, in my opinion.
Marriage.
Yeah. No, but that's how it works. And I am a passionate bloke. I am. I am reactive. You know, I can't. It's how I'm built. I can't really help it. And I don't know whether I'll ever change. Do you know something? If I didn't feel like I do, and I can't. When I feel about something, the way that I feel about West Ham, that's kind of how I am. If I didn't react like that, that would mean that for me, that would mean in a sense that I'm not. If I love something, that's kind of how I am. I care, and it's just my way of dealing with things. And I don't think I'll ever change.
No,
the thing is,
you shouldn't change.
The thing is with Nick, whatever he puts his mind to or whatever he likes, he invests in it 110%. He's always been like that with the table tennis, with all the other things he's done in his life. He puts 100% into it, so he can't ever just do it for fun or enjoy it. He enjoys it, but I mean, he wants to do it to the best of his ability. So he loves West Ham, so he just wants the best for West Ham. But to me, I'm not that way inclined. I'm a bit more relaxed with it. So yeah, I think.
Yeah.
Anyway, are you ambitious, John, for West Ham?
I am, but I feel that I'm realistic in my sense. I feel I'm realistic. I'm not saying Nick is not. Look, probably a bit like you. I've had so many lows that I don't expect too many highs. So
we've all had those lows, though, John. We've all come through the same journey with West Ham.
We all have. That's what. But isn't it funny then how we've had, me and you are the same age, Nick. We've had the same experience with West Ham, but we're completely different in so much as the way we look at West Ham, maybe to some extent, if you like. You think I'm too optimistic, and I think you're pessimistic.
I don't think you're too optimistic. If you're honest with me, if I'm honest with you, I do think you. I think with us, the way that we are, I think you're pretty intolerant of anything that isn't positive in any way. Like that's kind of what I say. And it is an intolerance. And I am not the most negative person. I'm not.
No, you're not. But
no.
When I read things on Twitter 5 days before the game, and people are saying 5 days before the game, if we lose on Thursday, we've got to look at January. To me, I'm thinking, why are we thinking of the negative outcome? Why are we not 100% behind this? Let's be positive. I get what we can blame it on, but let's not dissect something before it even happens. I accept that. That's all I would. That sort of thing bothers me, because I think, mate, you ain't really behind it. I'm not saying the people are wrong, but what I'm saying is I think you got to be invested in the team. And to answer Nigel's question, am I ambitious for West Ham? Yes, I am ambitious for West Ham.
But do you not think it's a symptom of being a West Ham fan where we've had several years of shit where we're conditioned for failure and people are just panicking the whole time, waiting for the wheels to fall off? Because they're waiting for the wheels to fall off because we're not used to this.
Yeah, but Nick, if listen, Nick, if they're conditioned for failure, then failure shouldn't be such a surprise because they should be more. Yeah. They should be more akin to it. They should be more. Oh, well, we knew that was going to happen. All I've said today to my Tottenham mates and Arsenal mates at football, all I've said to them all day is next season we'll be fighting relegation because that's the easy way for me to brush aside what happened Thursday night and with chippy old West Ham.
That's
we
what
know what's going to happen next season. It's not truly what I believe. I'm not going to be all down and on my knees because they want me to be. I'm going to be upbeat because I have to be. I'm West Ham. What else can I be?
Yeah.
And I'm not being overly positive. I'm just being honest here. Totally honest.
I mean, the reason I asked that question, it's levelled at me at times. I'm not. Am I ambitious for West Ham? No, I'm not. I will admit it. Do I want West Ham to win the league? Nope.
Yeah. I must admit, I'm ambitious.
I don't really care. To be honest, but this is true for you. If you're going to say, what's the one thing? If people come to me, what's the one thing not you want West Ham to do? I'll go,
FA Cup.
Thank you very much. I just want to see us win the FA Cup again. Because for me, that's the greatest cup competition. West Ham are a cup team. Yeah, I don't give a fuck about the league. Yeah, no. I go up. I watch 19 league games now a season. Used to be like 20 odd. And we win some, we lose some, we draw some. Hey ho. My mantra has always been: if you pull the shirt on, I will back you all the way, and I will not dig you out until 100%, you leave. 100%, and if you're the manager, I've always gone, you are the king. When I say always, I will caveat that in a minute. You are the king until you're there. Yes, the king is dead. Sam Allardyce, I've just mentioned his name. Shit. That man was alien to the culture of this football club. He's never been appointed. The reason he was appointed is we were so shit. We had to turn to a fucking alien. And where I would argue, actually, we could have found someone more akin to our, Chris Hughton could have got us out of that league. He's done it with Newcastle. He's done it with Brighton. He could have got us out of that league. Yeah. But no, we turned to the fucking Darth Vader of football. And for me, that's solid. The one thing West Ham was good for, was known for, was at least we played good football. Well, under him, we didn't even have that. And that was my argument with him. And even the playoff final didn't really celebrate it because actually it was the losers' final. Yeah, because we should have gone up in the top two. But aside from that, and the problem with that is that when I joined social media, I joined late 2010, because my daughter said, you need to get on here, Dad, if you want to protest about the Moot Olympics. So this is the thing. Avram Grant was the manager. We know how that ended. And then Allardyce turned up and I thought, oh my God, we've just gone from this to that. It's even worse for me. Yeah. And people think, so therefore they had 4 years of this madman going, well, the move's wrong, the owners are shit, and Allardyce is a cunt. Excuse my French. Yeah, but that was basically what it all rolled up. And then what happened is we have the last season at Bowling, Bilic is the manager, and I turned into what our class as normal Nigel, how I had been since I was a little kid. Yeah. You know, and
do you know what really the West Ham family, as is known, right? I would say that the social media world actually, in a way, it dispels the myth of the West Ham family because, in some ways, it actually
we're all at each other's throats on social media.
Yeah, exactly.
Well,
I quite enjoy Twitter. I've got a lovely group of people on Twitter who I get on well with.
It can be. It depends how you get on it. The weird thing about social media is we can sit here and knock it. Yeah. But because of it, let's face it. Yeah, I sat in the beer garden of the Black Lion. Yeah, with a Colombian from Miami. Yeah. Danny Martinez.
I called him a Cuban last week. He's gonna kill me.
Whatever. do you know? And when you think like I was born 200 yards away from the Black Lion. Yeah. That if 7-year-old Nigel in his bedroom in Canning Town had ever thought I would have friends in America, in Australia, New Zealand, Germany.
Yeah.
You know, that people contact me from all around the world. You know, I had an expat living in Austin, Texas, send me his program collection from when he was a kid.
Wow.
He knew, and he did, he posted it and everything. And you'd think if you'd have told 7-year-old Nigel that, and my problem with West Ham is perhaps the one thing is that because I was so local, I just thought everybody supported West Ham came from there because that's what I knew as a kid. And the actual, while social media can be negative, it's such a positive as well. That actually, the social circle of people, I'm even friends with Northerners. I mean, who would have thought it?
Well, on one of the first, sort of relatively infamous email lists back in, it started in about the late 90s, I think, right? And on this list we had Ian Dale, your mate.
Yeah.
We had Elwyn Cockett, who was the incumbent Reverend Vicar of West Ham.
What's his name?
Elwyn Cockett.
He's still around. He done Colin Milne's funeral a little while ago. Yeah. We had Steve Rapport, who's the photographer to the rich and famous and everything else. We had all these fucking who's who of West Ham in this little email group, and it was absolutely fantastic. An amazing little group. In fact, I was working, back then doing a technical job in IT, and I spent more time reading this fucking email group than I did working. For about 2 years, 3 years. But this went on for 10 years, this group, right? It's still going now, but I left it years ago. But that was sort of early social media. And that is a prime example of what you just said, Nige, is bringing people together. I've now met a load of those people who were on that list. For instance, Mike Brennan, right? For instance,
nuts,
Gary, there were 2 Garys on that list. Gary Sarf, it's me, and Gary North, Gary Stewart. And Gary Stewart is a northern guy from around the Blackburn area who now lives up in Liverpool. He goes to pretty much every West Ham away game. He goes to most of the home games. He was a season ticket holder until like last year. Chris Miles, who now lives up north. All these people on the list, now they turned into like a close group of friends. And I didn't even meet them for years. But when I met them, it felt like I already knew them.
Mate, it's interesting. It's interesting you say that. Sorry, Gail, but when we went Southampton away, that was my first experience of meeting a lot of these people. I met the guy from Blackburn, from Portsmouth. I'm thinking, how are these people West Ham fan? I'm 43. Yeah. And like Nigel said when he was 7, I'm 43, and I still sort of thought, most West Ham fans come from around the corner. So even for me at this age, it was a surprise. It was an eye opener. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. No, it's so I mean, it does have a massively positive impact as well, because it brings people together. And a lot of people I go to football with now, they're people I've met on social media, right, over the years. But they start at social media, then you meet them, they end up as friends, and then you I haven't got a clue who the negative channel is. We'll tell you later. Len. Right? We ain't telling you. We don't want to publicise the people who shouldn't be publicised, so we ain't going to do that. But yeah, I think there is a positive side, but there is also a reactive negative side. And I can forgive someone for being negative in the first, immediately after a game or something like that, but never get personal. Never get personal with a player.
This comment here from Richard, to me, I've said this in the past, and I know it probably bores people to tears.
I've said this as well.
But this is what makes me love West Ham more, the fact that we're not always up. I know it sounds ridiculous, but the peaks and troughs do represent most working class people's lives, I think. And I'm sorry to be dramatic or
great,
but I think
it is a reflection of life, I think, supporting West Ham.
100%, and I'm sure other teams would say the same.
Listen, if your working life was reflected supporting Man United, every day you go in and get a promotion. You're like, here's a pay rise. Have a pay rise. Lovely. There you go. No problem. Welcome. Comment. It's Tuesday. Here's another couple of grand. It's Tuesday. That's fucking supporting Man United. It would trophy after trophy after trophy after trophy. No, it's the school of hard knocks. It's West Ham, right? You turn up one day and say, sorry, mate, I think you better look for another job. It is what it is. You know.
Yeah. Right. So let's just go through a couple of the comments quickly because there's quite a few. 57 years I followed West Ham. I've got over disappointment 45 years ago. It makes the wins ever sweeter. To bash Crash is despicable. We're disappointed as fans.
Yeah.
Imagine being in these shoes. Exactly that.
I just quickly say the thing that I find with people on Twitter is very quickly is they think that's West Ham. And I'll tell you what it is. It's just a bubble. That's all it is. Yeah,
it is.
That's all it is. Yeah, because I'll bet 3/4 of if you go 3/4 of West Ham, I go to work and I work with West Ham people, and you know sometimes I don't know how to drop me. You know, they go, oh, I'm West Ham. Oh, you West Ham? Oh, yeah, we do. Yeah. You know, the one thing I don't do is go, oh, I'll do a podcast.
Yeah.
You know? Oh, I'll do this.
Yeah.
I wait till I've known them for weeks. I told someone the other day, and he's known me for about 8 weeks, and we've said something. I said, "Oh, Monday, I had a podcast to do," and he went, "You do a podcast?" I went, "Oh, yeah, West Ham one," and he laughed. Oh, it would have to be. And then when I showed him, he was like, "Fucking hell, what you been doing this for years?" And then I showed stuff in my shed and that, and he's like, you know, but it ain't something where I feel comfortable just going to people. Oh, guess what? This is what I do. The funniest experience I ever had was this year. I was absolutely slating Sean to a mate of mine in the ground. Yeah, in the ground. I fell out big time with Sean, and I'm telling my mate everything about it. And the bloke in front of me turned around and went, "You all right, Nigel?" And I look round, and this is a season ticket holder, and it turns out he's a vicar that listens to the podcast. So not only did he have to put up with my absolutely terrible language, but he had heard everything I had called Sean and realised there was trouble in paradise.
Imagine you saying that behind one of your 8 listeners. I mean, what's the chances?
I know.
Did you ask the vicar to do an exorcism on Sean?
No. Me and the Vic have become very good friends now.
I know you mentioned him a lot on your podcast.
Yeah, I do. Yeah. He's a great bloke.
Is that because you're getting a bit older, Nigel? You sort of found God.
Well, I left God when I was 18, actually, and I don't think I'll be finding him again.
Right, hang on. Let's do these last few, guys. Even people bickering between West Ham is bad. We've had a great season. I booked Barca Seville final. My excitement was why I love this club.
Yeah, never got to Spain though, did you?
No,
I cancelled my flights today. Got me money back. Just to let you know.
Oh, if anyone's got tickets to the Europa League final, if you let me know, I know a few Germans actually that are looking for tickets, and this is gospel. So I have had a couple of texts.
Surcharge prices.
So if they no, we don't ever do that, do we? So anyway, just bearing in mind, if you got lucky in the ballot or unlucky now, just remember your Uncle Nigel.
I did see one geezer put it in our Facebook group, I think, about he got tickets.
Right, yeah.
I was denied.
He needs to go into the Eintracht Facebook.
I didn't get lucky in the
ballot. Consecutive top 10 finishes, failing to break last season's point record. Is that really failure? Yeah, very good point. No. And this was my point. This was my point earlier. I've said it before. The team have gone up 2 levels in 2 years, which is too quick, I suppose. The fans, not so much.
Moyes didn't expect it.
West Ham U58, reality check. We are currently the 7th best team out of 92 clubs in the English league.
Yeah, good point.
This is a great point. Andy Dennis. I don't know about Miami and Colombia, but I'm surprised Nigel's got any friends. Very good point.
Considering Andy knows me very well.
He must know you very well.
I'll be.
Who's advertising? Who's advertising more than just a podcast?
Hold on, go up to the Leeds fan there, the disabled team. Go on, I'm a Leeds fan. I'm proud of it. I can't lie, I have a soft spot for West Ham. Yeah, lovely.
Leeds disabled team, I can't lie. I'm a West Ham fan and fucking hate Leeds. Yeah. No disrespect to you, mate. But at the end of the day, I grew up with dirty Leeds.
Yeah, nice. This
And
one's
I
for you.
couldn't believe old Mr. Martinez going around getting his photograph done with David Harvey and Johnny Giles. I was thinking,
I know. Martinez, what are you playing at, mate? What are you playing at? Dirty Leeds. Always suspected Nigel could be a Frankfurt fan, Nigel.
I could have been, but I Cologne, actually. So
Cologne.
You have got a German surname, haven't you? So
I have. Yeah, see? Just slip it in.
For those of you that are wondering, think Oliver Kahn, same spelling.
Yep.
Part of the Khan family.
Not Sadiq Khan, is it? Not
Sadiq Khan. No, it's Oliver Khan. Yeah.
We just had an Amazon delivery letter. Oh, no, back.
There he is. His Uncle Oliver.
Put the headphones on, so I can hear. Yeah, here he is. Autograph picture, Oliver Kahn.
Is he actually a relation?
You say to my cousin Nigel.
Distant.
Relation.
Have you done the family tree and worked it out?
No. I have got a doll of Oliver Kahn up there, and of course, I named my son Oliver Kahn after the Bayern Munich goal, which he's never forgiven me for.
This one, yeah, he's on you, Nigel.
Yeah, get a teddy. You need to be shown some love.
me and Nick are related by marriage to Alan Sugar. So Uncle Al, if you watch him, right, pass us a couple of mil.
Yeah.
What? Are you genuine? You're winding me up.
That's true.
It's very, very distant.
It's
very distant. But yeah, we are.
It's by marriage. It's not a thingy relationship.
What's your two surname? Canderell. Poor man, Sugar.
Might as well be. Yeah, might as well be.
Social media. It's a good thing, but it can be abused by the wrong people, can't it? You know.
It can be. It can be. But I think all in all, it's a good thing for everyone to have a voice, right?
Yeah, of course. 100%.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, like I say, you're kind of in this day and age now, you know, where we're all aware of people's mental health and stuff like that. You don't know when you're seeing someone's name on Twitter, you don't know who that person is. You don't know whether they're living alone. You don't know whether they've got any voice. You don't know what's going on with that person. So I think sometimes,
right. Yeah.
So sometimes I think you just need to be a little bit
also,
more tolerant, maybe a little bit more tolerant.
Also, though, Nick, you're right, mental health. But people need to realise, don't matter how much money they get, footballers have their own mental health issues, and footballers have committed suicide in the past. So, you know,
but mate, but that's why I don't get Twitter. I would never understand. I would never ever, and I've never done it. I would never ever sort of. Well, to be honest, whenever I've had my rants before in the past, I'm never ever sort of directly nasty about an individual anyway. It's always this. I'm just ranting about things in general. I don't ever target someone. But I don't understand people that would go on Twitter and tag someone in and call them names. I mean, that is just fucking balmy to me. I don't know why anyone would do that. But
off to delete those tweets of David.
I'm
fucking proud of him.
But
it is strange, though. It is strange why you would literally want to. Yeah, I don't get it. But then again, it's a new generation. You know, I suppose people can do that stuff now, can't they?
Do you know what I found to be very cathartic when I was on Twitter?
Go on.
There was a parody account of Sam Allardyce called The Big Sham. And I used to treat him like he was Sam Allardyce to the point there we used to bait each other. Yeah. So he used to actually tweet me, "Come on then, boy. Let's see what you got to say." And I would give him dog's abuse as if he was Sam Allardyce. And my favourite comments were from West Ham fans that go, "You know, that ain't really him." What, the Big Sham is not really him? To the point that when Allardyce got appointed England manager, I tweeted him and went, "Oi, time to wake up, son. I'm coming for you again." We had it on for about 10-15 minutes. It was brilliant. I do miss old Big Sham on Twitter. I don't know who he was. We had so much fun, and just every time. You might
remember this one, Nige. Followed West Ham since I was 6. I'm now 64. Going to junior school when we lost 3-0 to Mansfield in the cup. Yeah. I'm sure that wasn't a good time.
Lacey's buses. Did you run the bus? Did you run the buses, Aidan?
Remember them?
Lacey's, the Lacey family.
Oh, right. Yeah, I misunderstood it.
No, yeah, they used to do the coaches, people. not just the fans' coaches, they were the West Ham team coaches. I mean, and there was no luxury coaches back then. The club got the same coaches that we got.
Yeah.
I used to love the coach. I used to love the coach journeys away West Ham. I used to love it.
Do you know what? I didn't mind them as when I was, 15, 16. That's how I started with a lot of my away days out of London.
Yeah.
But the last coach ride I did was after a Blackburn. I think it was a 0-0 draw. And
7 hours.
Well, I fell asleep and I woke up and he's driving past Stoke. And it turned out that the driver didn't want to pay the toll fee on the toll road. So he turned off and drove along the A50 to the M1 and down the M1. We were the first coach out of Stoke and the last coach back to Upton Park. You know when they passed the hat round, nobody put money in for him. It was terrible. It was like, how the fuck do we get back at midnight? Yeah, after leaving Stoke, after leaving Bolton at 5:30.
Yeah.
And it was just like, that's it. I've done Sunderland. I've done Sunderland for a 1 o'clock kickoff.
Bloody hell. That's a good effort.
Me and my mate actually went out all night, and just turned up for the coaches because the coaches left at 4 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, makes sense. Yeah. Sleep on the coach.
Mummy. Yeah. That's commitment for you.
So I think that's brought that was a lovely little debate about social media. Enjoyed that. That was good.
Yeah.
So I think we've aired all our all our views. So I think we're done. I'll tell you what, Nigel, you criticised us last time for being lightweights and only doing 2 hours or something like that, right? So we've fucking deliberately exceeded it this time and gone to 3 hours 15.
Yeah.
So
now you're in the Mar territory.
Yeah, exactly. So
this would be heaven to me and Len. I'll tell you.
Well, tell Len. Len's coming on in a couple of weeks. He's promised me. That's all I'm saying.
All right.
Tell Len.
That's because he wants that money with that painting. He wants you boozed up.
You know what? He does keep sending me that image of the painting, and
he's going to be banging out Noble paintings left, right, and centre just to catch her on a drunk day.
I'm very tempted. He keeps sending me WhatsApp pictures of Noble.
Oh dear.
So Nick, I think we're done. Do you want to take us out?
We're done. Yeah, thanks everyone for watching. I mean, to be honest, the numbers have been great. I don't know whether it's the same 79, 80 people that have been watching for the whole show, but it's been a thoroughly enjoyable show. I think we did. We covered the Frankfurt game really well, didn't we? I think you're all right at the end of the day, and we are all proud of West Ham. We absolutely are. It's been a great season. We are. And like I said before, you can be proud and frustrated at the same time because I am proud, but Nigel is right. I always want more. I'm a greedy bastard. I think that's what it comes down to. But I am proud of him. It's been a lovely journey, and it ain't over yet. Like I say, with Man U slipping up, who knows? We beat Norwich. We beat Norwich tomorrow. It's back on again, isn't it? Europa League again next year. But no. So that's it. That's it from us, really.
Oh, one thing. Have a party next Sunday, people. If you're going to the game,
so
enjoy yourself.
This is it. This is it. And the one thing I'd love, I'd see a video. My mate went to the Liverpool game today. He stood outside Anfield, and as the Liverpool coach come into Anfield, the flares, the fans.
Yeah,
there's a bit of me that thinks, couldn't we do that?
We should be doing that.
Also, Nigel, I'm glad you mentioned next Sunday. It is going to be a party atmosphere, and it's also going to be an emotional one because your favourite player. Listen, your favourite player, Gary, sort of twisted your arm a little bit at the last shindig we had. I know he did. I saw you get a little bit. You gave in a little bit, but we're all getting over there early, having a drink for Mark Noble, and whether you like it or not, Nigel, you're going to be lifting a pint to Mark Noble.
No, just to say that at the end of the day, look, Noble. For me, as a Canning Town boy and as someone that sees West Ham as a club that, at the end of the day, West Ham was born in Canning Town, whether people like it or not. That's where West Ham United was born. And for me, having a Canning Town heartbeat in West Ham United
Important.
helps keep that club attached to. Let's face it, I know football's a global sport now, but when West Ham was formed, it was formed to represent. It could have been called Canning Town Football Club, and that is the truth. And they chose West Ham to represent the borough rather than the area of Canning Town where it was centralised. So they looked a bit further afield, as someone once told me. And that's what the club has continued to do in looking around the world.
West Ham London now.
But let's not forget where forget where the club, for me, comes from. And part of that now goes because,
Massively.
we haven't now got, before Burnley, I was Mark Noble's Mark Noble's biggest fan. No, I know that. But I think it will be, it'll be great to give him a send-off. It's very rare to get a one club player. Yeah. And everything else, all jokes
especially in this generation, it is.
And
you'll never get it again. We will never have that again.
Well, I don't know, because we've said that, when Steve Potts went, you think, well, we'll never get it again. To actually have
Steve Potts weren't a one-man club.
He was.
He went to Dagenham and Redbridge. He ended his career there.
No, but they were non-league. They didn't count.
Doesn't matter.
It does matter. Because that way, Trevor Brooklyn went off to play for that team in Ireland and whatever.
Exactly. Yeah.
So you can't actually. He was a one-club man.
Bobby
Moore weren't. Billy Bonds weren't. Yeah.
No.
So actually, when you look at it, there ain't that many to do what Mark Noble's done.
He's always right.
So I can't help it. So for me, this is going to be the next 2 weeks for me is really about Mark Noble and there you go. I just point out Andy's the website developer. Yeah.
Oh, Andy. I've communicated with you, Andy. Yeah. Good bloke. Yeah.
So he can say what he liked to me because he's a good man.
Well, you've plugged your website about a dozen times tonight.
Well, fucking hell.
6foot2.co.uk.
There you go.
Get along as
I'll leave it there. I'll save that. Perhaps we'll do a Mark Noble special later in the week.
We should do. We should do.
Yeah, we should do.
That'd be good.
Every supporter that's watched him play, maybe something like that.
Yeah. Go on, Nick. Carry on where you left off.
No, that's it. All done. Thanks very much. Cheers, Nigel. Cheers, John. Cheers, Gary.
Thanks.
I'm absolutely fucked. I've got to go to bed. Night, everyone.
Good night.
Come on, you irons.
Come on, you irons.